From New York, where the American stage begins, NBC presents Best Plays, transcribed with John Chapman. Best Plays, a series of hour-length dramas based on the famous theatrical books begun by the late Burns Mantle, now edited by the distinguished drama critic of the New York Daily News, John Chapman. Mr. Chapman.
Good evening, and welcome to our new series of Best Plays. In any form of enterprise, we're told that it's best to put one's best foot forward, except maybe in dancing. This evening, however, I have an idea we're getting off on the right foot, because our best play is Lawrence Hausman's fine comedy drama, Victoria Regina. This play was one of the great successes of the seasons of 1935 and 36. It was a remarkable season. Victoria Regina would have been a fine play no matter who acted the title role. But it had the enormous good fortune to have in it Miss Helen Hayes, who is widely regarded as the first lady of the American theater. Miss Hayes' performance back in that good season was the outstanding one of the year. It was one of those rare things, a perfect impersonation. And now, in a moment or two, we shall be able to enjoy it again, for Miss Hayes once more is going to play Queen Victoria. It will be quite a switch from her current Broadway success, Mrs. McThing, in which she acts a society woman who is forced by witchcraft to become the cleaning woman in a pool hall. As she did in the original production, Miss Hayes has this evening a distinguished company of fellow players. They include Carl Esmond, who created the role of Prince Albert in the London production of Victoria Regina, and Clarence Derwent in the part of the Prime Minister, Disraeli. Our play begins now in Kensington Palace.
The 20th of June, 1837. In the early hours of dawn, William IV of England lies dead at Buckingham Palace. And through the hushed and misty streets, two august messengers hurry on a high errand of state. The Lord Chamberlain and the Archbishop of Canterbury. Their destination, the palace at Kensington.
Why doesn't someone come? Curse these lazy footmen. I ask your Grace's pardon.
You had better knock, my lord.
Wait, I think I hear him now. Who rings at this...
Oh, my lord.
You go at once to the Princess Victoria. Say that we'd like to see her at once.
The princess? Oh, my lord, her Royal Highness isn't up yet.
Up? Of course she isn't up. Send and have her wakened. Our business is urgent.
Yes, my lord.
Hurry, man.
Yes, your Grace. But I'll have to call her Royal Highness's maid first.
Well, call her then.
Yes, your Grace.
What a household. We shall have a wait, your Grace. I'm told the princess sleeps with her mother.
The Duchess of Kent is a very determined character, I understand.
Very determined. The old cat.
Beg your pardon?
I beg yours. Your Grace has officiated before on a similar painful occasion, I believe.
Yes, I announced his accession to His late Majesty King William. But then he was only in the next room waiting.
How did he receive it?
With alacrity. Well, well, said he. I shall make a better king than poor George.
But he didn't, of course.
Ah, no. A better character, but not a better king. But women are different. Let's hope so, at any rate.
This is an 18-year-old girl, your Grace. A king would have been much better.
Oh, who knows, my lord? Heirs male of the last generation have not been a conspicuous success.
Well, you must get her married at once. Her cousin, Prince George of Cambridge, would be very suitable.
Yes. I'm told the Duchess of Kent has other plans.
Eh? Who?
She has two nephews, the Princes of Saxe-Coburg, Ernst and Albert.
They won't do. They won't do at all. The blood is tainted.
Indeed?
Hemophilia, the bleeding sickness. Won't do at all. And the foreign marriage, too. 5 o'clock. There's to be a council at 10.
Where? Here?
It'll have to be. Wouldn't be decent for her to appear in public as yet. People might cheer. That girl's a long time coming.
You mean the Queen?
No, of course not.
My Lord Cunningham and Your Grace,
Madam.
you have news for us.
For Her Royal Highness we have news, madam.
The king, then.
Is dead.
And my daughter is queen at last. And I am the queen mother.
No, madam.
No?
Only had Your Royal Highness been queen in the first place would that other title now follow.
Oh, then if it is not mine by law, she shall give it to me.
That, madam, I fear will be impossible.
I will go myself and speak to her at once. That shall settle it.
Madam, we are here to see Her Majesty the Queen on urgent business, and we must not be delayed. If you would be so good...
She is coming, my lord.
Mamma, what is it? Why is Your Grace here and Your Lordship?
Your Majesty, it is our painful duty to announce to Your Majesty...
My daughter, she is queen. Queen.
Mamma.
Oh, my child, my child.
They came to tell me that I am queen.
You are queen at last.
Really queen now? Before I've been crowned?
Yes, now at once. The king is dead. You are queen.
Then my reign has already begun? I can do as I like?
As you like. Do not mind what anyone says. If you want to do a thing, do it. But now, my love, do not stand there to catch cold. Come back to your own mother's bed.
No, Mamma, dear. As I may now do as I like, I wish in future to have a bed and a room of my own.
Of your own?
Yes, please, Mamma.
Ah, so you have been waiting for that.
I should be very glad if you don't mind, now that I'm my own mistress. Yes, I would rather be alone.
Mind? Glad? Alone? Oh, what is to become of me?
1838. The Queen is still in mourning, but she does not mourn. Animated and happy, she sits listening to what, in earlier youth, she was never allowed to hear. A conversation of a gentleman of breeding, worldly, witty, and to a certain extent wise. Her Prime Minister, Lord Melbourne.
And now, with your Majesty's permission, ma'am, let me come to affairs of state.
Oh, pray do, Lord Melbourne.
You said the other day, ma'am, with a courage which I thought remarkable in one so young, some day we must marry. Has your Majesty given that matter any further thought?
Oh, yes, Lord Melbourne. A great deal.
I'm relieved to hear it. Then your Majesty has still an open mind.
An open mind? Oh, of course I shall make my own choice, Lord Melbourne.
Oh, of course, ma'am. I wouldn't suggest otherwise for a moment.
My marriage must be a marriage of affection.
That, I am sure, can be arranged.
And it must be someone I can respect, whom I can love and look up to.
Look up to?
Yes. I mean, eventually, when I have trained him for the position he will have to occupy.
Ah, quite so. And now I have here with me a list of possibles.
Oh, Lord Melbourne, how interesting. How many?
At present, ma'am, only 5, but more are coming.
I would like to see your list, Lord Melbourne.
If your Majesty will pardon me for a moment, while I explain the considerations.
Oh, yes, do go on.
First, a suitable consort for your Majesty must, of course, be of royal blood. However, he must not be the heir to any foreign throne.
But why not?
Oh, political complications, ma'am. To proceed, he must be sufficiently young. He must know the English language, or be capable of learning it, and adapt himself to English customs and prejudice, since the English have a prejudice against foreigners.
Do you dislike foreigners, Lord Melbourne?
No, ma'am. But sometimes, for political reasons, one has to pretend to.
Well, and what more?
Well, he must have a certain amount of brains, but not too much. He must not expect to interfere in politics.
Indeed, no. I should never allow it.
Finally, he must come of good stock.
Good stock? I thought that meant cattle.
It does, ma'am, in certain connections, but it also means what passes from father to son. For that reason, acting under medical advice, I have not included 2 names which were first suggested to me. Your Majesty's cousins, their Highnesses, Prince Ernest and Prince Albert.
But they both look quite strong and healthy when I saw them 2 years ago.
Yes, appearances, though, are sometimes deceptive. I have now the honor to present this list to Your Majesty.
I don't know any of them.
If Your Majesty knows one of them, very well.
Prince George of Cambridge, yes. But I couldn't marry Cousin George. He's so...
Well, no one wishes to influence Your Majesty's choice.
Lord Melbourne, I should not allow any influence in a matter of this kind.
I see. I understand, ma'am. I only commend the matter to Your Majesty's good sense. The choice must be your own.
Yes. But you haven't shown me any portraits.
Portraits, ma'am?
But I can't decide about anyone till I know what they are like.
Let Your Majesty send for each of them and see.
Oh, I'm not going to send for them if I don't like the look of them.
Of course, I can get their portraits, but court painters, ma'am, know their duty. They only do what is expected of them.
Here is a portrait that was sent to Mamma the other day of my cousin, Prince Albert. Surely he must have grown very handsome. It wouldn't be possible for a court painter to imagine anyone like that.
You never know, ma'am. You never know. Well, am I to make a collection of portraits for Your Majesty?
Oh, no, Lord Melbourne. I wasn't speaking seriously when I said that.
No more was I, ma'am. But I do ask Your Majesty to think seriously. And now, if I may take my leave.
Indeed, Lord Melbourne, I pay great attention to everything that you say.
Your Majesty is most gracious.
Goodbye. Oh, Albert, Albert, Albert. Will you marry me?
A few more months have passed, and in a sitting room in Windsor Castle, two young princes are deeply immersed in a discussion of the future.
Well, Albert?
Ja, Bruder?
We must speak English.
Why?
For practice. One of us, you or I, will have to always.
Ja, I suppose so.
Well, now, which of us do you suppose it is going to be?
That is not for me to say.
No? Well, then it is time that I speak. It must be me, Albert. Did not Papa tell you?
Tell me? No.
Perhaps he found it difficult, but he wishes it shall be me.
Then why did he make me come?
Well, she has to choose. But she has to choose me.
Why did Papa not tell me?
I do not know. You were always our Mamma's favorite. Perhaps that is why I am his. Do you remember our Mamma at all, Albert?
Oh, yes. I remember her. Just once. She was crying. She took me into her arms and cried.
Well, you were very young when she went away from us. She wanted to take you with her. Did you know?
When she went to Paris to live alone?
Not alone. Albert, suddenly I understand. You are not the son of my father.
I am not.
You are not the son of my father. That is why it has to be me.
If she asks me, I shall accept.
Then she shall not ask you. I shall have you sent home at once. No, I am not taking away from your happiness, Albert. You will be happier than I.
Happiness is not everything.
No? What then?
To do something that shall be worth doing.
You have only to do as you are told.
Well, about that, we shall see.
Cousin Albert, what are you two looking so serious about?
Why, the rain.
Oh, but it will clear presently, and then we will go for a ride in the park.
Well, that will be very nice, to be sure.
Have you practiced your music yet, Cousin Ernst? At home, I was told you practice every day.
Yes, but here, one cannot find the time.
Go and do it now, and there will be time.
But I tried one of the pianos the day we arrived, cousin. It was not in very good tune.
But that doesn't matter. No one will hear you.
But generally, Albert and I practice together.
Duets, you mean? But if the piano is out of tune, duets would sound dreadful. No, you go and practice by yourself, Ernst, and Albert shall practice by himself another time.
Is it a command, cousin?
Oh, my dear Ernst, I wouldn't think of commanding you. But I do want you to be quite at home here. And as you always practice at home, I want you to practice here. And now.
Well, very well, cousin. Albert, remember.
How strangely Ernst spoke to you then, Albert. You haven't been quarreling.
We never quarrel, cousin.
I think it would be very hard to quarrel with you, Albert. I couldn't.
Please don't ever try.
Won't you sit down, Albert? No, not over there. Why don't you sit nearer? Talking is then so much easier.
You're very kind, cousin. Ever since we came. To both of us, I mean.
I'm very fond of Ernst.
Yes, so am I.
Would it be a great trial to you if you had to live away from him?
One gets very fond of a brother.
Yes. But one can get fonder of someone else, can one not? Albert, what are you doing?
I was listening to Ernst practicing.
Don't listen to Ernst. You must listen to me. Albert, I have something to say to you.
Yes. What is it, cousin?
In my position, it is I who have to say it, unfortunately. Ordinarily, it is not what a woman would wish to say herself. She would rather he said it.
Is there anything you wish me to say that I can say?
To hear you say you can love me is all I can hope. Yet, if you could say you already do love me, that would be almost like heaven.
I do love you, cousin.
Enough to marry me?
If it is still your wish, when you know me, I will very gratefully and humbly accept this dear hand that you offer me.
When I know you.
Yes, for I have just learned something about myself. I have no proof, but something tells me that it is true.
Don't tell me, Albert, if it's anything I shouldn't wish to know.
But I must. It is this. My mother and my father, that is Ernst's father, separated after I was born. They did not love each other. My mother loved someone else. He was my father.
Who was it?
I don't know. So neither do I know who I am. Do you wish me to go now?
No. No, I wish you to stay. It makes no difference to me. And besides, who knows?
Ernst knows, and his father knows.
But his father sent you here and let you come.
Yes, but he hoped it would be Ernst.
Oh, how could it possibly be Ernst after I'd seen you? Oh, Albert, Albert, what does it matter? It's not your father I shall marry. It is you.
My very dear cousin. My sweet wife that is to be.
Aren't you going to kiss me?
If I may.
Again, please, again. Now, we must be married quite soon, Albert. Everybody expects it.
Expects it? But they don't know.
Expects me to marry, I mean. I had to choose somebody. But I wasn't going to choose anybody.
Not even Ernst?
Oh, I liked Ernst very much from the first. I still do.
He will be disappointed.
Well, we must both try to be very nice and kind to him.
Then won't you send and say he may stop practicing?
There is no need, for here he is. Come in. The rain has stopped. Are you ready to come riding, Ernst?
Quite, if you are, cousin.
Oh, yes, we are quite ready now. Everything is being settled. Tell him, Albert.
Ernst, you told me to remember. I forgot.
Albert,
Yes, dearest, if you wish.
What are you doing?
Shaving.
Oh, how exciting! May I stay and watch you?
If it would interest you, Weibchen.
Oh, but of course. To see you shaving is wonderful. Something I never thought of. How often do you do it? Once a week?
Every day.
Oh, fascinating. Is it dangerous?
No. Not if you don't talk to me.
Oh.
Vicky. Vicky, if it weren't for the soup, I would kiss you now.
The soup?
This thing on my face.
Oh, not soup, darling. Soap.
A soap, then.
But I don't mind the soap, Albert. Your soap, if you would like to.
Very well, then. I will.
Let me see what you shave with. How sharp it is.
Oh, it has to be sharp.
Do you ever cut yourself?
No, not when I shave myself. I had a valet once who cut me badly one day.
Oh, what happened?
When the court physician came running in a terrible fright, he thought to find me bleeding to death.
To death? But why?
Because my brother Ernst and his father nearly did. But I'm not that way, you see. What I told you makes the difference.
And that difference has perhaps saved your life. Oh, Albert, how thankful I ought to be. Suppose you died before we got married. Could I have married anyone else?
But you had to marry, dearest. You could not disappoint your people by not giving them an heir to the throne.
Oh, Albert, shall I? Will that really happen?
We will hope so, dearest. In time.
I hope it will be very soon. We really are married now, aren't we?
Yes, Weibchen. I think so.
Yesterday seems like another world. All the crowds and the cheering and the bells. And now we are all alone. Just we two.
Yes. All alone. Are you happy?
Happy? Oh, so happy I can't tell you. And to think that this will go on for years and years.
Oh, no, not just like this. That is not possible.
But I shall never love you less than I do now, Albert.
But you will be less excited, less romantic about it. Today you have come to see me shave. You will not come to see me shave every day for the next 20 years. It would not be reasonable.
But I don't want to be reasonable with you, Albert.
But you will want, in time. You have a great life of duties to perform, in which I'm to share. Isn't that so?
We can't share everything, Albert. Some things I shall have to do alone. Affairs of state, in which it would not be right for you to concern yourself.
Oh.
You must take great care, dearest. The English are jealous, and to them you are still a foreigner.
And, to you?
To me you are everything. Life, happiness, peace, comfort. Hark! That is the band of my Royal Life Guard. I gave orders for it to be here this morning an hour earlier so that we might hear it before we came down.
It's very good music. Don't stand so near to that window, Vicky.
Why not?
The people might see you.
But why shouldn't they? It would please them.
Yes, too much. You are in your dressing gown. Besides, I want my breakfast. Please go and get yourself ready. Quick.
Order me to go, Albert. Order me.
Go, woman. He says to you, go.
Oh, Albert.
True to her promise and to her tender heart, the queen through the whole of her long life never loved her prince less than in those first shining days. But even marriages made in heaven have days that are less than heavenly. That is the prediction for a sunny morning in 1842, when the prince's secretary, Mr. Anson, is disturbed at his correspondence.
Come in.
Mr. Anson, sir.
What is it?
Her Majesty wishes to know whether the prince has yet returned.
No. At least so far as I know, he has not.
I'm told to ask, sir, whether you know where the prince is.
No, I don't.
It's very strange, sir. His Royal Highness's valet, Mr. Richards, says that His Royal Highness did not return last night from the Royal Academy dinner.
Hadn't you better report to Her Majesty that His Highness is not here? That, I believe, was all you were sent to find out?
Yes, sir, Mr. Anson. Immediately, sir.
The prying fool. But where is he, then?
Good morning, Anson.
Oh, good morning, Your Highness.
Any news this morning?
In the papers, sir? The report of your speech at the Academy banquet, sir. It reads very well.
Yes, it went well. Any letters?
None important. Pardon me, sir, but Her Majesty...
Yes, I know. I met her footman a moment ago. You may take these letters away and,
Albert!
You may go, Anson.
Yes, Your Highness.
Albert! Where have you been?
To Windsor Castle, Victoria.
Impossible. Why did you not come back last night?
I did not come back last night, Victoria, because of the way in which you sent for me.
I told you before you went that I wished you to be back at 10:30 at the latest.
Yes.
At 10:30 you had not come, so I sent for you.
Oh, yes. I received this note. Albert, it is quite time you were back. Please to come at once.
But you did not come.
I did not come because I was not ready to come.
Albert, when you go anywhere without me, I do not expect you to be late. You knew my wishes. So, I sent another note.
Yes. At 11 o'clock, I received this. Albert, I order you to return at once. Victoria Regina.
And still you did not.
I did not.
So you disobeyed your queen.
Yes, my dear. Sent me to the tower and cut off my head.
I do not regard this as a subject for amusement and jest, Albert.
No. Then it is lucky that I do. Or we might have a serious quarrel about it.
Albert, what did you do after I ordered you to return? Where did you spend the night?
At Windsor, as I told you.
I don't believe it.
Don't you?
Albert, I will not be treated like this.
Sit down, my dear. Sit down. We will talk it over quite reasonably and comfortably. Now listen to me. When you married me, you made a promise that was strange for a queen. To love, honor, and obey. And because it was so strange, I've never told you to obey me, except in fun when you wished it. Now, my dear, there are some things in which you must not expect me to obey you. That is why I told the coachman to drive to Windsor.
The coachman? What must he have thought?
When we got there, he thought he knew the reason. There were lights and music and dancing in the castle.
Music? Dancing?
The servants were so sure we would be away. They were having a fancy dress ball. 2 of them were dressed up like you and me.
What an improper liberty. Most extraordinary. And how fortunate that you should have caught them.
Oh, they were all very much surprised to see me.
Indeed, I should think so. What happened then?
Oh, it was very funny. I tried not to laugh.
I hope you did not laugh, Albert.
Oh, no. I composed myself to look very angry.
But if such a thing could happen, well, it means that a lot of other things might be happening, too.
I'm afraid so. I think, my dear, you had better make me your manager of Windsor. It will save you a great deal of expense.
And if I did it at once, everybody would understand why.
What are you smiling at?
It was funny. And I'm so glad you went. What a good lesson it was for them, to be sure.
Yes. A good lesson for them. But, Weibchen, you have not yet kissed me good morning. If you please.
The queen who had been a child was learning to be a woman. But the early 1840s were hungry and restless years in England, and the child who was now a woman learned also to be a queen.
Anson, is there any news?
Sir, the inspector of police reports they can't trace the man. He urgently begs that Her Majesty shall not drive out today.
That is nonsense. If Her Majesty does not drive in the park as usual, the man will know that we saw him with a pistol yesterday. Then we shall not catch him.
It's a great risk, sir.
It has to be taken. The pistol missed fire. He does not know that he was seen. He will try again, and it is better that he do it this afternoon when we expect it than at some later time when we do not.
But Her Majesty...
It was her decision, Anson. When I told her the man was bound to make another attempt, she said that he had better make it at once and get it over.
That was very courageous of Her Majesty, but don't you
very sensible. Tell the inspector we start at the usual time.
Albert.
Oh, my dear. You look very charming. And you're very punctual.
Yes. We mustn't be late today. Come, Albert. Look at all these friendly people.
Waiting for you to smile on them.
I am smiling.
Of course. It is rather amusing that none of them knows in the least what we know.
Albert, this must be rather like going into battle.
Except that we do it in cold blood, without any excitement. That makes it rather more difficult for us.
Oh, but it excites me very much, Albert. For this is to be really a queen. And with you, I feel quite safe that I can behave like one.
So do I, my chief. You never expected that you would have to do anything like this. But you do it. It is having to do it that makes it possible.
Look, Albert.
Oh, my dear, my dear.
Albert.
The coffin. They've got the man. Vicky, they are cheering you. The people cheer you.
Yes. Have I pleased you?
You have more than pleased me. You have behaved like a queen.
In a moment, Act Two of Victoria Regina, starring Helen Hayes, with Carl Esmond and Clarence Derwent. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company. Now, Act Two of the Best Plays production of Victoria Regina, starring Helen Hayes.
(1846). The Queen is the mother of 5 children now, with 4 others still to follow. Other changes have taken place. Sir Robert Peel's government, which followed Melbourne's, has fallen in its turn to Lord Russell, and Victoria has taken her first journey by railway to the frightened despair of her master of the horse. But at Windsor Castle this evening, these things are not thought on. There is a concert in progress, but 2 ladies of the court have no time or attention for it. They are the Duchess of Sutherland, Victoria's mistress of the robes, and her young cousin, Lady Jane.
But, Your Grace, it is so difficult.
My dear child, court life is difficult.
But to be suspected, and for nothing, it's so humiliating.
Lady Jane, anyone who touches the prince sets off a bomb.
But I haven't touched him.
No, but you've looked at him, and that is enough.
Well, after all, Your Grace, he's there to be looked at. Why is she so jealous?
She can't help it. He's possessive, and she's in love with him.
But I'm not. I wish she'd send me away.
Oh, no, my dear. Hold your ground. Now, what exactly happened this morning?
We were riding in the park. My reins got caught, and the prince rode up beside me and was putting them straight for me. And the Queen pushed her horse right in between us, and she said, Lady Jane, if you don't know how to ride properly, you'd better not come out with us at all. And the prince said, Lady Jane rides...
May I?
Oh, Your Highness, thank you. I am sorry. I'm sorry to have given Your Highness the trouble.
No trouble. A pleasure. The color of the rose suits you very well.
Albert!
What is it, my dear?
Lady Jane, give me that flower.
Your Majesty must pardon me. The flower is mine.
How dare you speak to me? Go. Go instantly.
Your Majesty,
Go, I said. Your Majesty, to allow me to speak, to explain. There is nothing to explain. But there is. I saw everything. So did I. I saw the prince give her this flower. Do you mean to deny it? Your Majesty, he did not give it to her. She had dropped it. Dropped it? Oh, yes. No, Mom, quite by accident. It fell out of her hair. The prince only picked it up and returned it to her. You saw that, you say? You know that for certain? I assure your Majesty it was so. Do you know also what happened this morning? Lady Jane has told me. It might have happened to anyone. It was a mere accident. It may have been a mere accident. I don't know. But what has happened tonight is much more serious. That is so. Your Majesty gave yourself no time to think. I was too hasty, you mean? Does your Majesty wish me to say more than I have said? I only wish you to tell me the honest truth. I will try, Mom. But the truth is sometimes difficult. It should not be. Not even when it is to a queen, Mom. A queen may need it sometimes, far more than others. If she knows she needs it, Mom, she is already on the side of truth. I do know it. I do. Tell me, is it possible that I have been a... I am sorry. Forgive me. I was quite wrong. Oh, Your Majesty. Oh, there. And now will you tell the prince? I mean, will you ask someone to ask the prince? Albert, I have asked Lady Jane to...
Queen, my dear.
With you to help me.
Threatens to shake her world.
Mr. Anson, has His Royal Highness not returned from the ceremonies at Sandhurst?
No, Your Majesty.
I wish he would come. This dispatch is very serious indeed. Is the messenger who brought it still waiting?
He has gone, Your Majesty.
Without staying for a reply. Yes, because this is our fault, not theirs.
Cannot one of Your Majesty's messengers go, Ma'am, the matter being so urgent?
Oh, yes, he must. And, Mr. Anson, will you tell one of them to be ready to start at once?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Victoria.
Oh, Albert, I've been waiting for you. Oh, Albert. Mr. Anson, the messenger.
At once, Your Majesty.
You have been so long, dear. And why did you wait to change?
My uniform was wet through, my dear. And I was very cold.
You're still cold, dearest. Your hand is like ice. Why did you go to Sandhurst in such weather when I begged you not to?
I had to, my dear. What is the matter?
Oh, it's about the trouble with America for having taken the Confederate envoys off one of our ships. And most wrong it was of them. But look, this is the dispatch that Lord Russell is sending to our ambassador in Washington about it. He wants it to go tonight.
Is the Foreign Office messenger waiting?
No, he's gone.
Gone? Ah, that is what one has to expect now, I suppose.
Yes, it's the Palmerston again, troublesome man.
Yes. He and Lord Russell. Quite a pair.
Read it quickly, Albert. I want to know what you think about it.
Her Majesty's government... So, this means war.
Yes, I was afraid so. How foolish of the Americans not to give in. They must know they are in the wrong. And everything that Lord Russell says is true, is it not?
Quite. But it won't do.
But, Albert, as we are in the right, what else can we do?
Alter it. Say it. But say it differently. Often it is just the way a thing is said that decides whether it will be peace or war. It is the same when two people quarrel. You and I often might have quarreled had we said the things we did say differently. Lord Russell. Oh, no. This is Lord Palmerston.
But, Albert...
He would have war. And this time, we should win. But another time would come, and we should not win.
But we could always beat America now, Albert.
So, and if we were fighting someone else, Vicky, and America chose her time then. No, that is what these patriots never think about. It is always, this time we are right, and we shall do what we like. What fools their patriotism makes clever men to be. Palmerston. When he dies, they will say of this man, he always upheld the honor of his country. And when they say honor, they mean pride. And for this honor, we should send thousands and thousands to die. Oh, what a wicked black thing honor can become when men make use of it so.
Then what are we going to do, Albert?
We are going to alter this dispatch. Now, have your messenger waiting?
Yes.
Then go and write to Lord Russell, Vicky. Say this dispatch is not to be sent until he has heard from you.
I will.
This will take me more time. But go and write your letter, dearest, at once.
Yes, Albert.
And then, will you leave me alone, my dear, while I do this? I shall try not to be long.
Albert, you have been at work so long.
I have done now.
Albert, what's the matter? Are you ill?
Read this. Read it. If you approve, send it.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, this is so much better. Yes, I do, Albert. I do approve every word.
Then let it go. Now.
Yes, Your Majesty.
See that this goes immediately to Lord Russell.
Yes, Your Majesty. One.
Vicky.
Albert, what is it?
I'm so...
Albert.
Take me to bed. Please, Weibchen, take me to bed. Ich fühle mich so schwach. Ich konnte kaum die Feder halten.
Albert! Albert!
With half her life ahead of her, Victoria was alone. Alone, as Lord Tennyson wrote, to bear sorrow's crown of sorrow. Alone to rule by the guidance of her memory of what Albert would have wanted her to do. Never for a day to shed her garments of mourning, she yet returned almost at once to her duties of office. And so she grew old, and weary of London, took up her residence for longer and longer periods at her castle at Balmoral in the Scottish Highlands. There her ministers would come to report. There on a day in 1877, she talks with a good friend, her Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli, Lord Beaconsfield.
My dear Lord Beaconsfield, pray sit down. I had that chair brought especially for you. Generally, I sit here in the garden, quite alone.
Such kind forethought, Your Majesty, overwhelms me. I gratefully accept.
Well, and how is everything?
Madam, there is almost nothing to tell. Politics, like the rest of us, have been taking a holiday.
So? This morning's news is not good, you know. It is not good. The Russians are drawing nearer to Constantinople.
They will never enter it, madam.
Oh, they mustn't. We will never allow it.
That precisely is the policy of Your Majesty's government. Russia knows that we shall not allow it. England shall dictate terms, moderating the demands of Russia, and under Your Majesty's protection, the throne of Turkey will be safe once more.
Ah, you are a true statesman, Lord Beaconsfield. When Mr. Gladstone was Prime Minister, he never talked to me like that.
No. You must have had interesting conversations with him, madam, in the past.
I have never once had a conversation with Mr. Gladstone in all my life.
He used to talk to me as if I were a public meeting, and one that agreed with him, too.
Was there, then, any applause, madam?
No, indeed, no. I used to cough sometimes.
Rather like coughing at a balloon, I fear. Yet if there is one man who has helped me in my career, it is he.
Indeed, Lord Beaconsfield. How has he helped you?
In our party system, madam, we live by the mistakes of our opponents. Many times have I trodden the road to power over ruins the origin of which I could recognize either as my own work or as that of another. And most of all has it been over the disappointment, the disaffections which my great opponent has left me to profit by. I gain experience by his errors. Only today I learn that he has been in the habit of addressing, as though she were a public meeting, that royal mistress whom it has ever been my most difficult task not to address as the most charming, the most accomplished, and the most fascinating woman of the epoch that bears her name. But, madam, I am here as your Majesty's First Minister of State. If you have any further commands...
No, my dear Lord Beaconsfield. I would rather talk with you as a friend. Of friends. Those that we do not have to keep at a distance. You and I have not many. But while I have many children and descendants, you have none, I remember. So your case is the harder.
I am not unhappy in my life, madam, only so lonely that sometimes I doubt whether I am really alive.
Oh, no, my dear Lord Beaconsfield, you mustn't say that.
I apologize, madam.
You spoke of your bereavement. I wish you would tell me more about your wife.
To her, I owed everything.
She was devoted to you, wasn't she?
I never knew the depth of her devotion till after her death. Then, madam, and this I have told to nobody but yourself, then I found among my papers a message written a few days before her death, begging me to marry again.
And you? Had you ever meant...
Never, madam. It is enough if I allow myself to love.
Oh, I understand.
Madam, will you let me kiss your hand?
My dear friend, there is just one thing I wish to say before we part.
Speak, madam, for thy servant here.
Have you any objection if I bestow on you the Order of the Garter?
That?
I want your answer.
What adequate answer can these poor lips make? Let me come to you again when I have saved Constantinople and secured once more upon a firm basis the peace of Europe. Then ask me whether I have any objection, and I will own I have none.
Very well.
Madam, may I propose a toast? The Queen, God bless her.
Douglas?
An old custom, madam, observed by loyal defenders of the House of Stuart, so that no lesser health might ever be drunk from the same glass. To my old hand came a sudden access of youthful ardor which I could not restrain. Your pardon. And may I now crave permission, madam, to withdraw?
Go, Lord Beaconsfield. You need rest.
Adieu, madam.
Draw your curtains and sleep well.
When pain and anguish wring the brow, a ministering angel thou. Adieu.
Such devotion. Most extraordinary. Oh, Albert. Albert.
1897. Victoria, a tiny figure in a wheelchair, represents to the whole world the highest symbol of a great nation and an unparalleled empire. The crown she has worn for 60 years, she has worn in purest devotion to private virtue and public honor. And from the farthest reaches of earth, kings, princes, potentates, and statesmen have assembled in London to do homage to her on this, her Diamond Jubilee. Now the long and brilliant ceremony of the triumphal procession is over, and ere the captains and the kings depart, let us see the Queen once more, in the large upper chamber at Buckingham Palace, surrounded by her children and grandchildren. Outside, the great throng of people still waits, and her oldest son, the Prince of Wales, is at her side.
Are you tired, Mamma?
Very tired, my dear, but so happy. So glad that I had the strength for it.
May we drink to your good health, Mamma?
Certainly. Oh, yes, certainly. Please, all of you.
Your Imperial and Royal Highnesses. I have great pleasure in asking you to drink to the health of Her Majesty the Queen. May she continue long in health and prosperity to enjoy the love of her children and her people.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Won't you go and rest now?
No, not yet, not yet. My dear people are expecting to see me again. I must try not to disappoint them.
Will you go out on the balcony?
Oh, yes, oh, yes. But I can't get up, you know. I shall have to go as I am. Let the windows be opened and wheel me out. How wonderful. How kind. I will retire now.
How they love you, Mamma.
It is very gratifying, very, to find, after all these years, that they do appreciate all that I have tried to do for them, for their good, and for this great country of ours. We have been so near together today, they and I, oh, my dear people of England and Scotland and Wales and Ireland and the dear colonies and India. From all over the world I've had messages, you know. Such loyalty, such devotion, so extraordinary, really. So happy. Oh, Bertie, as we were coming back, perhaps none of you noticed this. It was just at Hyde Park Corner. There was a great crowd there, you know. And a lot of rough men. Of course, it ought never to have happened, but it didn't matter, really. Broke right through the lines of the police and the troops guarding the route, and they ran alongside the carriage, shouting and cheering me. And I heard one of them say, "Go it, old girl, you've done it well." Of course, they were very unsuitable, the words, but so gratifying. And oh, I hope it's true. I hope it's true. Ah, they are still cheering. Oh, Albert, Albert, if only you could have been here.
You have just heard the Best Plays production of Lawrence Houseman's romantic drama, Victoria Regina. And here again is your host, John Chapman.
Well, thanks to Arthur Houseman, Miss Hayes, Mr. Esmond, Mr. Derwent, and their fellow players, That was a fine beginning. For the sake of variety, next Friday we shall have a different kind of best play. Howard Lindsay's farce about the nightclub girl who was hidden in a men's dormitory at Princeton. She Loves Me Not. Our cast will be headed by two excellent comedians, Eddie Bracken and Ann Thomas. This is Chapman saying goodbye until next week.
Victoria Regina was adapted and transcribed for radio by Clarice Rock. Featured in the cast were Norman Rose as the narrator, Leona Powers as the Duchess of Sutherland, John Stanley as Lord Cunningham, Irene Hubbard as the Duchess of Kent, Robert Carroll as Ernst, Guy Spall as Mr. Anson, Burford Hamden as the footman, and Charles Francis in his original role of Lord Melbourne. Best Plays is an NBC production supervised by William Welch and directed by Edward King. Fred Collins speaking.
From New York, where the American stage begins, NBC presents Best Plays with John Chapman. Best Plays, a series of hour-length dramas based on the famous theatrical books begun by the late Burns Mantle, now edited by the distinguished drama critic of the New York Daily News, John Chapman. Mr. Chapman.
Good evening. For myself, the test of a fine play or a fine performance is a simple one. After I've seen it, do I want to stay up half the night or maybe all the night talking about it? That's just what happened to me on the cold evening of February 3rd, 1938. I was too excited to sleep, for I'd just seen the first performance of Paul Osborne's On Borrowed Time. Here was a beautiful play, brimful of humor and affection. It was one of the best plays of that season, and it's one of the best for you now. Our company has, in the part of Gramps, who just pretends to be an old crosspatch, a character actor perfectly fitted for the part, Parker Fennelly. You remember him from his Snow Village sketches and his work for many years with Fred Allen. In the part of Miss Nellie, his wife, we have one of the most gifted actresses of the theater, Mildred Natwick. If you saw her, you will remember her as the spinster secretary in Shaw's Candida and as the slightly crazy fortune-teller in Blythe's Spirit. In the important part of the little boy is David Anderson, who is a veteran actor in spite of his extreme youth. Gramps and Granny Northrop live in a white clapboard house in the middle of town, with their grandson Pud and Pud's parents, Jim and Susan. Just now, Jim is out on a call. He's a doctor. And Susan has gone along. Gramps relaxes on the porch, shaded by an ancient apple tree.
Gramps! Gramps!
Huh?
Look!
What is it, boy?
Look what I found out and back by the garbage shed.
Well, Keezer's ghost. If that don't look just like a bone.
It is a bone. Is it a human bone, Gramps?
Might be, boy.
It looks pretty human to me, Gramps.
We'll ask your dad when he gets home. He's a doctor, and they know about these things.
We'll keep it as a specimen, okay, Gramps? Put it in the window box with the other things.
All right, boy. You better not let your granny know that you're using her window box for specimens. That frog is getting kind of old, boy. We'll have to throw him out and get something else. Maybe we could stuff your Aunt Dimitri in there, huh?
Aunt Dimitri is a piss smart. Aunt Dimitri is a piss
Hey, Where'd you hear that?
You said it.
Me?
You said she was a Pissmeyer.
Well, she is a Pissmeyer. She's the biggest Pissmeyer I know.
What's a Pissmeyer?
An ant. One of the meanest ants that crawls.
Why is Aunt Demetria so mean, Gramps?
Born that way.
Julia?
Oh, perdition.
Where's perdition, Gramps?
Where the woodbine twineth.
Julian! Granny's getting louder.
Yeah, 1 second. I'll just fortify myself with a little fire water before we go in.
Why do you always fortify yourself, Gramps?
Never you mind. Don't you ever touch this stuff, boy.
Just give me a taste.
Ah, no.
Please?
All right. Teach yourself.
Julian Northrop.
Oh, was you calling Miss Nellie? I didn't hear you.
What are you doing to this boy? That I should live to see the day.
I'm just letting him learn things for himself.
He mimics everything you do. Hardly has a chance to see his own father. Jim's that busy. First thing you know, Julian, this boy will grow up to be just like you, swearing and smoking and drinking. You'll never draw a breath that ain't full of swearing and smoking. And if you don't change your ways, I'm going to talk to that boy's parents about sending him away to school.
At his age?
Better than being around you. Demetria knows the
Dimitri. God, I might have known that old bird stuffer was at the bottom of this.
Demetria Riffle is a fine Christian woman.
She's a bird stuffer.
She may have her faults, but... Julian, what's a bird stuffer?
Nothing. Just a bird stuffer.
But it must mean something.
Now, look, Miss Nellie. Adam saw a dog, and it looked like a dog, and he called it a dog. I saw Demi. She looked like a bird stuffer, so she is a bird stuffer. What's the matter, Nellie?
Who's that man?
What man?
Out there by the fence gate.
Oh.
Tall man, black coat.
I don't know, some salesman, maybe.
I don't like his looks.
Now, Miss Nellie, don't go...
Taking a chill all of a sudden. Pud? Pud?
Yes, Granny?
You come inside the house with me for a spell.
Hey, Granny, I'm digging up an old worm.
You come inside with me, Pud, now. Julian, you come too.
No, I think I'll set out here a spell. I feel kind of drowsy all at once.
Well, suit yourself. Come along, Pud.
Guess I ain't as young as I figured.
Mr. Julian Northrop.
Huh? You shouldn't come up on a fellow like that. You give my heart a real twitch there.
You are Julian Northrop.
I am? Who are you? What do you want?
I request that you come with me.
You do, huh? Where would that be?
Where the woodbine twineth.
Where the Say, I said that. I just made that up out of my head a little while ago. Who the old Harry are you?
You may call me Mr. Brink. Ready to come along now?
Now, you look here, Mr. Brink. I don't like you. I wouldn't go to a rat fight with you. So now you know.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I don't like the way you snuck up here. So get, pack on sail for...
You see? Your heart is failing. It's time for you to come with me.
No, tain't. I ain't going nowheres. Now, you get the blazes out of here. You get off my son's property.
Julian?
Get now.
Julian, who are you shouting at?
At that fellow in the black coat, Well, I'll be doggone.
Where is he?
He's gone.
What did he want?
I don't rightly know, Miss Nellie.
Gramps, who was that man?
Oh, you see him, did you, son?
Sure, who was he?
He wanted me to go with him. Say, you suppose he... Now, who do you suppose that is?
Better answer it.
Sounds like somebody told the operator to really keep at it. Dr. Northrop's residence? What? But it can't be. Well, there was just... Yes. Bring them both home.
Who was it, Julian? Why, what is it? Julian, what is it?
Nellie, it's Jim and Susan.
What about them?
They was both killed in an auto crash.
Hey, Gramps, I just found a new kind of stone, Gramps. Come on out and play.
Gramps,
What, boy?
why is Granny crying?
She's feeling kind of sad, boy.
What are you doing, Gramps?
Writing a letter, boy.
To who?
To Reverend Murdoch.
He's the one who talks at the cemetery, ain't he, Gramps?
Yeah, he's the one.
Granny,
What, Pud?
my papa was a brave man, wasn't he, Granny?
Yes, dear.
He turned his automobile right off the road so he wouldn't hurt a little boy, just like me.
That's right, dear.
But I must never forget that my mama and papa were taken from me, and I will never, never have any others. I'm an orphan.
Who told you that drivel?
Aunt Demetria.
That darned old pissmire.
Julian.
Telling a boy things like that. The old hellion...
Don't swear in front of Pud.
I'm going to swear when I'm older. Gramps said I could.
Did you say that, Julian?
Yes, I said it. Now, let me finish this letter.
What's so important about that letter?
I'm sending Reverend Murdoch $50.
$50?
He looked kind of shabby when he was preaching that funeral sermon. I reckon preaching don't pay what it used to. Call it my good deed for this lifetime.
Good deeds and leading a Christian life is two different things.
I reckon.
If you do a good deed and make a wish, it'll come true.
What's that nonsense?
It's true, Gramps. If you do a good deed and make a wish, the wish will come true. So make a wish, Gramps.
All right. Soon as I think of a good one, boy. Who the devil's that?
Come in. Why, hello, Demi.
I was passing by. I thought I'd stop in. Hello, Julian.
Yeah.
There's my poor little lamb. Got a kiss for your Aunt Demetria. Why, what's the matter?
I've had too much ladies' arms around me lately.
Too many arms.
Well, I'd like to have none arms around me for a while.
Well, that's all right. Poor little Lammy, still thinking of his mama and papa.
Oh, leave the boy alone.
Julian. There, Lammy. Your Aunt Demetria understands. God has taken...
Did you hear me, you old hellion, you?
Would you deny the child Christian comfort?
Oh, the howling blazes with Christian comfort.
Come here, Pud.
I hate you.
Good boy.
Julian, you're a demon. You whited sepulchre.
Whited sepulchre, huh? You woman of Babylon.
You Bismarck.
Come on, boy. Let's get out of here before we lose our tempers. Come on.
Well, did you hear that? He called
I know. Revelation 17:5. Don't say it, Demi.
right in front of that sweet boy. I warn you, Nellie. It was bad enough when the boy's parents were alive, but now, with only Julian to teach him, why, he'll be swearing and blaspheming before you know it.
I'm as worried as you are, Demi.
You can't take care of him by yourselves.
Well, we've got young Marcy Giles coming to live with us. She's going to help look after Pud.
Did you say Marcy Giles?
Moved in this morning. She's downtown buying a few victuals. Why, what's the matter?
Well, of course, it's none of my business.
What ain't?
But if it were my grandson...
What about it, Demi? Do you know something about Marcy?
I should hope so. Carrying on as brazen as you please.
Marcy?
And that young Bill Murdoch, Reverend Murdoch's son.
Just a moment, Demi. Julian?
What?
Step inside a minute, Julian. It's important.
Me too, Granny?
You wait out there.
Shucks.
You guard that apple tree, Pud. See that nobody steals any apples. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what is it?
It's Marcia. Demi says that she's been carrying on with the Reverend Murdoch's son.
Bill Murdoch? Good. He's a nice fella.
Are you going to have that kind of woman around, Pud?
What kind of woman? Stop your pussyfooting, Demi. What's she done?
Kissing.
Kissing?
Right in the park, like you never saw. Fair to make your blood boil. They carry on like that in public. What do you suppose they do when they're alone?
Well, but Demi, if they just kiss...
Kissing? Ye gods, that makes me mad. That makes me so dang mad.
Julian Northrop, you stop your swearing.
Miss Nellie, I'm disappointed in you, listening to her. You're getting to be nothing but an old fool.
Julian.
Well, I'm sorry, Miss Nellie, but it's true.
You can march right out of here.
It's a pleasure. And old hellion even makes me fight with Miss Nellie.
Did you hear that? He called me an old fool. He said he was disappointed in me.
Oh, I don't see how you stand for it, Nellie. I don't. It just isn't any place to bring up a young boy.
Always swearing and smoking that smelly old pipe.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Lord took Jim and Susan just as a punishment to him.
Oh, well, he don't mean all them things, Demi. He's just a rough-spoken man.
Never setting foot inside a Christian church.
Well, it ain't that he sneers at religion, Demi. He just don't have no interest.
Well, it's no place for a boy of Pud's age.
I suppose you're right. Sometimes I wonder if maybe you shouldn't bring him up. Me? After all, he's your own sister's child. Julian and me ain't getting any younger. Matter of fact, Demi, I ain't told a soul, but I've been feeling right peaked lately.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And Pud is your own sister's child.
I've often thought of it, Nellie, but I couldn't afford to give Pud the things he needs. Unless Jim left a will or something. Did he, Nellie?
He did, Demi.
Well, think of that. And how much, is the little Lammy taken care of?
Jim left $15,000.
$15,000? Dear little Lammy. Nellie, maybe you're right.
About what?
Maybe I should adopt Pud.
Adopt him?
I could take his things over with me now, and in the morning I'll go down to Mr. Pilbeam's and have the papers drawn up for you to sign.
Now, just a minute, Demi. I don't want you putting words in my mouth.
Well, you said yourself.
I just meant maybe he could live with you and visit over here every day.
Well, if you want him exposed to all this blasphemy.
Oh, I don't know, Demi. I just plumb don't know, and I'm too tuckered out to think about it. Maybe if I just put my head back and think for a moment.
Very well, Nellie. You make up your own mind. Just remember that the boy is being spoiled. I'll be by in the morning.
Goodbye, Demi.
Goodbye, Nellie. You get some rest. You don't look very well.
She's gone, Gramps.
Who?
That old piss of my Aunt Demetria.
Good.
She just passed Marcy coming up the walk, and she didn't even look at her.
Well, we'll look at her twice, just to make up for it.
Here she comes. Gosh, I sure wish Granny would knit me a sweater with bumps on it the way Marcy's has.
Hush, child. You're too young for such talk.
Hiya, Marcy.
Hello, Pud. Hello, Mr. Northrop. I got the groceries.
Marcy, come here.
Yes, sir.
Don't you know it's a sin for a girl to kiss men in the park?
Well, I didn't kiss men. I only kissed one man.
Oh, well, that's different. Next time, you bring him up here and kiss him.
What?
I say you bring Bill Murdoch up here and kiss him. Time we had a little kissing in this house again. How the blazes is Pud going to learn about kissing if he don't never see none?
Mr. Northrop.
You in love with Bill?
We're engaged.
I kind of thought so. All right. You'd best take them groceries into Miss Nellie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Marcy.
Yes?
Fix her a cup of peppermint tea, will you? She's been looking kind of peaky lately.
All right, Mr. Northrop. Here's your tea, Mrs. Northrop.
Oh, just set it down, Marcy.
Is there anything wrong, Mrs. Northrop?
Wrong? Oh, no, there's nothing wrong, Marcy. I'm just kind of tired. I'm going to sleep in a minute as soon as I finish this knitting. Now, let me see. There was something I was supposed to talk to you about. What was it? Well, there, I've forgotten. Couldn't have been very important. Marcy.
Yes, Mrs. Northrop?
Marcy, you just see that Julian always has his pipe. Will you do that?
Oh, yes, Mrs. Northrop.
You're a good girl, Marcy. Now go back to whatever you're doing.
All right.
Don't you think you have done enough?
That you, Julian?
No, not Julian.
Who is it?
It's Mr. Brink. You seem rather tired.
I am kind of tired, Mr. Brink.
I thought so. Well, you're to come with me now.
Come with you? See here. What call of you to come button in here?
I usually come to bedrooms. It's much more comfortable.
What is?
To come with me.
Why should anyone go with you?
It's customary.
Oh, well, you might as well sit down and wait, because you needn't think I'll stir until I've finished this knitting I'm working on. I'm narrowing off at the top now.
Yes, I know you are.
What do you know about knitting?
I don't mean the mitten, I mean you.
What a fool thing to say. Don't you know a lady from a mitten?
Yes, I know a lady from a mitten. I know many things.
I'll wager I could show you a thing or two about knitting.
No doubt. Are you ready now?
Wait. Just a minute. I'm almost finished. There. That's got it. Don't that red stripe look well with the gray?
Excellent, my dear. Excellent. Now we must go.
Gramps, look!
Look where?
The apple tree. Those boys been stealing apples again, Gramps.
Oh, so they have. Looks like they got away with it, too.
They always get away with it, Gramps. You never catch 'em.
Well, now, one of these days, you just wait and see.
I don't believe you even try.
Oh, don't I, though? I swear, I wish that anybody who climbs that old tree from now on would have to stay up there until I let him down.
Gramps, you made a wish.
Huh?
A wish. You wished that anybody who climbed that tree would have to stay there until you let him down.
Yeah, so I did. A lot of good it'll do me.
Oh, but it will, Gramps. I bet we catch somebody and keep them there for 100 years. 1,000,000, maybe.
You know something? We better start eating some of them apples ourselves before they're all gone.
I'll get some. You'll let me down, won't you, Gramps?
Well, I reckon so, yeah.
Boost me up, Gramps.
Okay, boy. Easy now. 1, 2, up you go. Got the apples?
I got 'em, Gramps.
Yeah.
Great big red ones. Now, you know I can't get down until you let me.
My Lord and Miss Boopy-Doop, you sure do beat the trolley cars, boy.
I wished it, Gramps.
Yeah, I reckon they did, boy. Well, in that case, I'm liable to keep you up there all week, maybe 100 years.
But you said I could come down before, Gramps.
Yeah, I changed my mind. Matter of fact, I might leave you there while I go down to Millball Park to pick up another frog for our collection.
Then I'm coming down.
Oh, but you can't, boy, 'cause you're under my magic spell.
Gramps!
Huh?
I can't let loose.
No, of course you can't. You can't go breaking my spells like that.
But honest, I can't, Gramps.
That's what I said.
Let me down, Gramps. Let me down, please. My arms is tired. Gramps, let me go. Gramps!
No, you're stuck now. Oh, what's the matter, boy?
Gramps, please, I really can't.
All right, come down. I break the spell. Yeah.
I couldn't let go honest.
I thought you was just fooling.
I was fooling at first. Then my hands wouldn't move.
Doggone, boy. If I don't believe you really thought that tree could hold you. Well, come along. Let's go inside and see if Master's got lunch ready yet.
Gramps.
What?
There's that man again.
What man?
The one in the black coat. He's just going down the walk.
Well, sure it is. He must have come out of the side door of the house.
What's the matter, Gramps?
I don't know, boy. I got a sudden sort of a chill. Come on, we best go in and make sure Miss Nellie's all right. Miss Nellie! Miss Nellie!
Here comes Marcy downstairs. Come quick!
What is it?
It's Miss Nellie.
What's wrong?
I'm not sure, but I think she's...
She's what? She's what? Speak up, girl.
I think she's dead. Mr. Northrop. Mr. Northrop.
Oh, hello there, Marcy. I must have dozed off. Ain't that remarkable, Marcy? For a minute, I dreamed 'twas last week. And Miss Nellie was alive. Jim and Susan.
Supper's nearly ready.
Where's the boy?
He's playing out in back. Miss Riffle was over, so I sent him out.
What's she want?
She was just asking about your health. She's been here every day since the funeral.
That old hellion. Just waiting for me to die, eh?
If you don't take care of yourself, you will. You haven't eaten enough for a bird, and you've got to keep your strength up.
All right, Marcy. I'll be in directly. Bud seems kind of lonesome lately, don't he?
Well, when you don't eat, he hardly touches a mouthful either, you know.
That's what Miss Nellie used to say. Julian, she'd say, that boy mimics everything you do.
He does, too.
Marcy, it's that Brink fella.
Brink?
He was here, Marcy. He come for her.
Who's Brink?
I reckon you didn't see him.
I don't know anybody by that name.
If only I'd got upstairs a little sooner.
Oh, you couldn't have known.
We had words. She died before I could take him back and say I was sorry.
She understood.
No. She died and she didn't forgive me.
She did. She would have forgiven you anything.
Gramps?
Oh, hello, Pud.
Oh, well, I guess I better set the table.
Can I sit here on the porch with you for a while, Gramps?
What makes you think you have to ask?
I don't know, Gramps. You seem so peculiar lately.
Well, I'm getting over that. We're going to have supper together.
I'm not hungry.
Oh, got to eat, boy. Got to keep up our strength. You see, there's only you and me now. Only me and you, boy. I figure we got to stick together, huh?
You're dang right, Gramps.
Shouldn't cuss, boy.
Why not? You do.
Well, I shouldn't either. Your granny didn't like it. We got to turn over a new leaf, Bud.
What for?
So your Aunt Dimitri won't keep saying I'm bad for you. Won't keep trying to get you away from me.
We'll kill her and we'll put her in the ground. We'll lower the coffin and we'll say ashes to ashes to ashes.
Boy,
Gramps, what's the matter? Marcy, come quick. Gramps is sick.
Mr. Northrop, what is it?
Nothing. Just a little spell. It'll pass.
Oh.
I reckon I ain't used to not smoking.
Oh, would you like your pipe?
No, I'd best not. Miss Nellie didn't like me to smoke.
Nonsense. She told me I was always to keep your pipe filled.
What? When?
Just before she died. I took her up a cup of tea, and she caught my hand, and she said... Now, wait a minute. I'll remember her exact words. She said, Marcy, you see that Julian always has his pipe.
Marcy, you ain't making this up to make me feel good.
I couldn't do that.
No, you couldn't. Give me the pipe, girl.
Right here.
Well, now.
Tastes good, Gramps?
Better than anything, boy.
I'll go in and finish supper. Will you be all right?
Fine.
Gramps.
What is it, boy?
Look, coming up the walk.
What is it?
It's that man. That man in the black coat.
Is it, boy?
Gramps, why is your hand wiggling so when you hold your pipe?
Nothing, boy. I reckon I ain't been keeping up my strength like I should.
He's coming, Gramps. He's coming right up to the porch.
Good evening.
Well, what do you want?
You.
Can't I ever sit and smoke without you butting in?
I thought perhaps you might like to come with me now.
Now, look-a-here, Mr. Brink. I ain't going with you at all. I'm going to stay right here with this young fella. You're about as welcome as a fly on a currant bun. So pack up and get, you understand?
Your similitudes are a bit earthy, but your meaning is clear.
My similitudes. You hear that, Pud? Fancy talk.
He sure talks funny, doesn't he, Gramps?
Now go on. Get off of my property.
Must you be so difficult, Mr. Northrop? Your wife was so charming to me when I came for her last week.
Miss Nellie, is she well?
Sorry, I can't tell you that. Only that she has changed.
Miss Nellie changed? That's what you think.
My dear man, let's not argue. Come along now. This time you can't fight me away.
Gramps, don't go and leave me.
Looks like I have to, boy.
No, Gramps,
yep.
No.
Mr. Brink, before I go, I wonder, could I taste one last apple from this tree? I planted it when I was a boy, you know.
Well, it isn't done, but I suppose.
Thank you kindly. You wouldn't reach up there and get it for me, would you?
Well, I suppose I could do that.
Just step up on that low branch there. That's it. Now, I see just the one I want.
This one?
No. Climb up just a bit higher.
Here?
Little higher.
Gramps.
Hush, boy. Little higher now. That's fine.
This one?
No. Matter of fact, Mr. Brink, I don't want none of 'em. I got you up in that tree, and you're going to stay there till I say you can come down.
Hey, here, why, this is ridiculous.
Is it? You try getting down. Pray, boy, pray it works.
I can get down any time. I seem to be stuck.
Try to shake loose.
I certainly shall, Mr. Northrup.
Gramps, the word, he's stuck. Look how he's shaking it. You got him, Gramps, you got him.
By golly, boy, I believe we have. I do believe we have.
In a moment, we will continue with Act Two of the Best Plays production of On Borrowed Time, starring Parker Fennelly and Mildred Natwick. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company. We return now to the Best Plays production of On Borrowed Time, starring Parker Fennelly and Mildred Natwick. Now, here again is John Chapman.
The modern theater is called realistic or naturalistic, and so it is most of the time. But at almost any season, you'll find plays that go venturing off into some world of imagination, of fancy, like the one we're hearing now. This season, we have Helen Hayes on Broadway and Mary Chase's delightful fantasy, Mrs. McThing. In 1938, we were specially lucky, for there was a stirring mixture of fact and fancy on the stage. There was such hard realism as Of Mice and Men and Golden Boy. But there also were worlds of make-believe to discover in Thornton Wilder's Our Town, Maxwell Anderson's The Star Wagon, Alfred Lunt and Lynn Fontanne having fun with the legendary Greek gods in Amphitryon 38. And, of course, there was On Borrowed Time, where a little boy has death himself held powerless in an apple tree. Act Two is ready, so let's listen now to what happens.
Dr. Evans.
Doctor, this is Demetria Riffle.
Oh, yes?
I hope I didn't disturb your sleep.
No, I usually sit awake all night waiting for calls, especially now around 1 in the morning.
I need your help, Doctor.
Is something wrong?
It's Julian.
Oh, heart?
No.
What is it?
Doctor, what would you say if I told you that Julian Northrup is out in his front yard right now building a fence around his apple tree?
At 1 in the morning?
Right now.
I'd say he'd gone completely crazy.
Well, he's out there.
Good Lord. And what does he say?
He says he has a man in the tree, a man named Mr. Brink.
Who's Brink?
Julian says he goes around taking people away with him when it's time for them to die.
Holy smokes. Are you sure he said that?
Not only that, Doctor, but he says that touching the tree is the only way anybody can die. There is no more death in the world until Julian lets Mr. Brink out of the tree.
Now, look here, Demi. Do you think Julian really believes this, or was he just spoofing you?
Oh, I think it's pretty plain what's happened, Doctor. All this death in the family's touched him. He's an old man, and his mind suddenly snapped.
I find it hard to believe.
I called you so you'd come over and take a look for yourself.
Huh? Now, look, couldn't we make it in the morning?
Dr. Evans, my nephew Pud is living in that house. If Julian is insane, I intend to get the boy away from him before something terrible happens.
Well, I'm not a psychiatrist, Miss Demetria, but I'll go over there. If I think Julian's out of his head, we'll get a court order and get the boy away. You meet me there in, say, 15 minutes.
Grasshopper sat on a railroad track, singing Polly Wolly Doodle all the day, picking his teeth with a carpet tack, singing Polly Wolly Doodle all the day. Yeah. Mr. Brink?
Yes?
Just making sure you're still up there.
Oh, I'm still here, Northrop.
Fine. I don't know what you had to go making yourself invisible for.
I think it's better that way. When the time comes, the right folks will be able to see me. Don't worry.
Time ain't coming till I decide.
I can wait.
Glad to hear it.
Julian?
What the devil is that old fusspot doing here this time of night?
Julian, I brought Dr. Evans.
I told you not to tell anybody.
Oh, it's all right, Northrop. I was interested, that's all. Dmitri tells me you've actually got somebody sitting up in that tree. Only we can't see him.
That's right.
And nobody in the world can die anymore.
Not unless they touch that tree, no.
Are you serious about this?
Would I be building a fence at 1 a.m. if I wasn't serious?
What makes you think a person will die if he touches that tree?
Because I see 2 stray cats and a dog touch it already tonight, and all 3 of them are stone dead.
I see. And you can talk to this Brink fellow?
I can.
Would you?
What for?
Well, I thought perhaps if you talked to him, you'd find out he wasn't there.
You don't believe me, eh? All right, by golly, I'll show you. Mr. Brink?
Sir?
See, he calls me sir.
There, he thinks someone is answering.
Humor him. Talk some more.
I hope you ain't mad at me, Mr. Brink.
I think I may be allowed some slight irritation.
Well, now, I had good reason for putting you up there. You see this old bag here? Her name is Dmitri Riffle.
Did you hear that?
Quiet.
You got her on your schedule yet?
Riffle?
Yeah.
No such name has come to my attention as yet.
Well, it better, Mr. Brink, because I'm going to keep you up there till it comes time for you to exterminate her.
My dear man, that may be a long time.
Well, that's how it's going to be. I ain't letting you down until there ain't no chance of her getting her hands on my little grandson.
Very well, Mr. Northrop, but I think you'll regret it.
I'll take my chances. Well, Doc, you satisfied now?
Yes. I'm satisfied that there's no one up there.
You mean you didn't hear him?
You were talking to yourself. And just to prove it to you, I'm going to pick an apple off that tree and eat it.
But you darn fool, after all I've been telling you has happened already.
I insist, Northrop. Now look out.
Doc, you make one move to touch that tree, and so help me, I'll brain you with this hammer.
Julian!
I mean it.
Doctor, look out!
All right, Northrop, all right. Now calm down. I just wanted to make sure you weren't joking.
Well, now you know I ain't.
Yes, now I know. Well, we'd better be getting along, Mr. Dmitri. I'll be by in the morning, Northrop.
Anytime you please.
Good night.
Good night. Oh, don't worry about any patients dying for a while yet. Well, Mr. Brink?
Well, Mr. Northrop.
Fence is all finished now. I'll see you in the morning.
In the morning.
Don't go away.
I won't.
Masonia wore a crown upon his seat.
How's that?
The King of Masonia wore his crown on his seat.
You don't say. What'd you do to your finger?
I heard it when I was helping put away the tools this morning. But Marcy put a heap of tape on it, so I guess it's okay.
A heap of tape? I guess you mean adhesive tape, huh?
A heap of tape. Gramps.
Yes, boy?
Is he still up there? Mr. Brink, I mean.
Still up there.
Gosh.
Yeah, what is it, Marcy?
A couple of gentlemen inside to see you.
Gentlemen? See me?
Dr. Evans and some other man, I don't know. They came around the side.
I'll be right in. You stay out here, Bud. Don't go near that tree, do you hear?
Okay, Gramps.
Well, morning, Doc.
Northrop, this is Mr. Grimes.
Pleased to meet you.
Likewise.
I was telling Mr. Grimes about your tree.
Oh, I reckon you don't believe that he's up there either, Mr. Grimes.
Oh, sure, I believe it. I was just going to ask you to come along with me and meet a fellow at my place who wants to hear about it.
Oh, well, it's this way, Mr. Grimes. I don't want any more people knowing about this. You see, I want...
Northrop, there's no point in beating around the bush. I've got a court order here to take you to an insane asylum.
I want...
Now, it's this way, Northrop.
Demi put you up to this so she can get the boy.
There's no use fighting it, Northrop.
Listen, there ain't nothing wrong with me.
Now, are you coming along like a good fellow, or do I have to put a straitjacket on you?
You'd do that, would you?
Unless you're a good fellow.
Well, I reckon I might as well go along peaceful, then.
That's a good fellow.
Of course, I can't go without my badge.
What badge?
My veteran's badge. If I'm going to march up to that bug house, it's right in the desk drawer. I'll get it.
Now, Northrop.
It's all right, Doctor. You got to know how to handle them.
That's it. Here it is, right here. Now then.
Northrop, put down that gun.
Hold still.
Put it down.
You know, you got to humor a crazy person. If you don't humor me, it's liable to drive me plumb wild.
Now, be reasonable, Northrop.
That's just what I'm going to do. I ain't going to no bug house. And I ain't letting that old she-cat get Pud. But I see I got to prove that what I've been saying in reference to a certain Mr. Brink ain't no poppycock.
You won't get away with this.
Maybe not. You got your medicine satchel, Doc?
Yes, I have it.
You maybe got some poison in there? Enough, say, to kill a fly?
Poison? Well, of course, but...
Good. I'm making a bargain with you, then. And you'd best take it, too, because otherwise I'm just liable to go wild as all get out.
What's the bargain?
Doc, you take the worst poison you got in that bag and put it in a tumbler. I'll catch a fly and put him in the poison. If that fly dies, I'll give myself up. But if he lives, you swear I'm sane, huh?
That's fair enough.
Can you trust him?
I think so, Mr. Grimes. Now, don't worry. I know darn well I can kill a fly.
No, you can't, Doc.
Northrop, if I can't kill a fly, I'll quit medicine.
Pour it out.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Grimes, you get a fly. There's one on the window pane.
Okay.
There. Got him?
Right here.
I'm dropping in this tumbler.
You, got poison enough?
There's enough poison in this glass to kill a team of horses.
Okay. He's in.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't much of a swimmer, is he? How long you been practicing medicine, Doc?
51 years, and I can still kill a fly.
Well, you live and learn.
Yeah. Take him out and put him on the table.
Looks kind of sick, don't he?
Never saw anything better than that fly, Northrop.
Wait a minute. Give him a chance.
Well, Doc?
He's dead. You can see for yourself.
Well, you've lost, Northrop. Now, come along, nice and peaceful.
Stick by the bargain, Northrop.
Looks like something's gone wrong.
I'll take the gun.
Wait a minute. He moved.
What?
That dang fly just moved.
Impossible.
Look for yourself. He's drunk as a lord, but, by gracious, he's moving right across that table.
God, you didn't give him enough poison.
I gave him enough for 1,000,000 flies.
Now do you believe what I've been telling you about Mr. Brink?
To heck with that. You put down that gun, Northrop. You're coming with me.
Hey.
I don't know what kind of trick this is, but I'm not falling for it.
Grimes, you promised.
I came to get him, and I'm going to do it.
So you still don't believe it, eh?
Put it down.
And you ain't going to keep your word. Well, by God, there's another way of proving it. Doc, if a man was shot right smack in the belly, he'd die, wouldn't he?
Northrop, don't do it.
You crazy fool.
Okay, Mr. Grimes. You're an experiment now.
Grimes, look out. Oh, you crazy fool. You've killed him. He'll be dead in an hour.
I don't think so, Doc. But I sure hope Mr. Brink stays up there. Because if he comes down now, I'm in one terrible fix.
Mr. Northrop.
What is it, Marcy?
Dr. Evans is back.
Where?
Out by the apple tree. He's got Sheriff Tilbeam with him.
The sheriff?
Mm-hmm.
Holy consternation. You don't suppose Mr. Grimes up and died?
I don't think so, but the two of them are acting kind of peculiar.
How's that?
They've got a fishing pole, and they're fishing through that fence you built around the apple tree.
Concerned fools. Let me get out there. What the tarnation is the matter with you two?
Oh, hello, Northrop. Better reel in, Sheriff.
Okay, Doc.
Dead?
Dead as a doornail. It makes 3 mice we've killed by just touching them against the tree.
Well, of course. Didn't I tell you?
Maybe the tree's poison.
That doesn't explain why Grimes is still alive. He should have died 3 hours ago.
You see, Doc?
Yeah, I see. Northrop, you can feel right proud of yourself.
What do you mean?
There's a man in my hospital who's been suffering for years, in constant pain.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Day before yesterday, I decided to operate on him. The operation was a failure. He's in more pain than he ever was. I expect the best thing would be death.
Well, I'm sorry, Doc.
Then there's that nice old lady in 2C, Mrs. Trenner.
The one that used to keep all the dogs?
That's right.
I forgot all about her.
Everybody has. She's been in that bed for 6 years with only one idea. To die as soon as possible. This is just happening in one small hospital in a small town. In Gainesville, they have 2 hospitals. There are thousands in the world. And they're full of people just like that.
Now, Doc, Sheriff, I'm right sorry for them people. But if you're trying to get me to let Mr. Brink out of this tree, you're on the wrong track.
Think about it for a minute. No more death. Nobody died last night.
Nobody's going to die tonight or tomorrow.
I don't give a hoot. Brink is up there, and he's going to stay there.
Okay, Northrop. We're going. Oh, by the way, did you ever see a man 100 years old?
What are you driving at?
By the time Bud's a young man, you'll be about that age.
Say, if I ever get like that, I'd let Mr. Brink come and get me. I ain't ever going to be no nuisance to Pud.
Okay, Northrop. But I warn you, I'm going to do everything I can to make you take him down today. And so is the sheriff.
Right.
And, I thank you for not letting me eat that apple.
You can have one now if you want it.
I think you'll regret that I didn't eat it before I'm finished. Oh, come on, Sheriff.
Mr. Brink?
Yes?
If I let you come down, I'm the first to go, eh?
That's correct, Mr. Northrop.
Do you think what Doc said is right? You think I might become a nuisance to Pud?
I think so, my good man.
Yeah.
Here comes Casey, bingity bing. Ow, look out, I'm an express train. Choo, choo. Out of my way, Gramps. Here comes Casey Jones.
Hey there, watch out.
Boom. Help.
I got you. Now, I ain't going to let you go till I get a hug.
Okay, Gramps.
Do you love me, boy?
I love you, Gramps. Better than Casey Jones, anyway.
See who that is, Marcy. Well?
It's Miss Demetria. The sheriff and Dr. Evans are with her.
I'll see him outside. I don't want that woman inside my house. Well. What brings this delegation?
I'm here because Dr. Evans asked me to come, Julian.
Northrop, the sheriff here has a paper on you.
What kind of paper?
Read it, Sheriff. Skip the hogwash. Read the important part.
Whereas Dr. James Evans, having testified that Julian Northrop is incapable of managing himself or his property, it is the order of this court that he be committed to the Gainesville Institution for the Insane.
What?
According to the laws of this state. And it is further ordered that custody of the child, John Guilford Northrop, known as Pud, be awarded to his aunt, Demetria Ripple.
So, that's your game.
That's my game, Northrop. I warned you.
I'll be good to the boy while you're in the asylum, Julian.
Come along, Northrop.
Pretty smart, ain't you, Doc? You figure I'll let Mr. Brink down before I'd go to the asylum.
That's what I figured.
Well, you just figure wrong. Because I've just about decided that I ain't so good for Pud anyways. Now, if you'll give me a minute with the boy, I'll come along with you.
No tricks now.
I just want to talk to him. I'll be out in a minute.
I don't know.
No, let him go in, Sheriff.
Okay, Doc.
Pud?
What's up, Gramps?
Sit down here, boy.
Sure, Gramps. What's the matter?
Pud, I'm going away.
Going away? But where?
Where the woodbine twineth, or thereabouts.
But why?
Well, Pud, you see, I'm getting to be a pretty old man now, and I'm kind of tired.
Let's lie down and rest then, Gramps.
It ain't quite that simple, boy.
I'll go with you. No matter where it is, I'll go with you, Gramps.
No, you can't go with me.
But I want to. I love you, Gramps. Don't go away.
You shouldn't love me that much, boy. You see, Pud, I've been thinking things over. Maybe it ain't such a good thing you're living with me anymore.
Oh, Gramps.
And you know, maybe your Aunt Demetri, she ain't as much of a pissmire as we thought she was.
Gramps.
No, sir. Maybe if you was to go and live with her... What's the matter, boy? Why are you pulling away from me like that?
Don't you love me anymore, Gramps?
Of course I do. It's just that I got to go away.
But I'll go with you.
No, you can't, boy.
Please, Gramps,
No,
please.
no.
Then I don't love you anymore. I don't. I'm going away from here. I'm going far away.
Pud! Oh.
Ready, Northrop?
In a minute. Demi,
Yes, Julian?
Demi, honest to God, will you be good to Pud?
I'll be good to him, Julian.
Will you see he gets some fun out of life?
I will.
Will you not keep hugging him all the time like you do?
I'll be good to Pud, Julian. You don't have to worry. I have wonderful plans for him.
Such as what?
Well, I'm going to start right in getting him ready for next year's term.
How do you mean getting him ready?
I'll start teaching him the work, so when he starts his new grade, he'll be ahead of the others.
Ain't you going to let him play any?
Of course he'll have his play period, but now he'll have education, too. I'll begin to form his mind.
His mind is forming all right as 'tis.
He needs to learn to behave nicely. I'll teach him to say no, sir, and yes, sir, to curtsy when old...
Curtsy?
By the time Miss Ramsdell's school
Miss
opens...
That's a girls' school.
Not anymore. They're going to have 3 little boys next year.
Oh, you're going to make that boy into a sissy. By God, you still are a pissmire.
Don't try anything, Northrop. You're still coming with me.
You think so, Sheriff?
I know so.
Mr. Brink.
Who's he talking to? This may be what we're waiting for. Let him talk.
Well, Mr. Brink, kind of looks like the time has come.
Yes, the time has come now.
I expect you're ready.
As soon as you say the word.
I hope you won't hold it against me. The only reason I kept you there was to keep Demi from getting the boy.
I've taken that into consideration.
I was going to let you down just as soon as you had word to take her.
I know, but there's been no call for her yet. Probably won't be for years.
What's that? You say you were supposed to take Dimitri an hour ago?
Good heavens.
No, I said I probably won't take her for years.
Oh, my God, Mr. Brink, why didn't you say so?
But I'm not supposed to take her.
Northrop, did he really say he was taking Demi?
Yes, says he was supposed to take Demi an hour ago.
Oh, no, it can't be.
This changes everything.
Doctor, it isn't really so, is it?
I'm afraid he's really got death up that tree, Miss Demetria. If your time has come...
But he can't.
Northrop.
By the way, Mr. Brink, after you take Demi, I wonder if you could just slip the sheriff in for good measure.
Hey!
The old stiff is trying to take me to the nut house.
Northrop, this is practically murder.
Mr. Northrop, if you please.
Mr. Brink's talking to me again. Yes, Mr. Brink?
This is the wildest absurdity I've ever heard. You know perfectly well I have no authority to take these people.
You say you'll take the sheriff, too. Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Brink.
Julian!
Mr. Brink's awful angry.
Northrop, when I get down from this tree, so help me.
Well, goodbye, Doc. Demi, Sheriff, you'd best line up now. Come on, line up, everybody. Here we go. Off to glory.
Stop him. Somebody stop him.
Hold on, Northrop. For God's sake, hold on a second. Northrop, stop it. Stop it. We'll do anything you want us to. I'll tear up the court order. Look. There.
Good. And you, Demi, will you keep your hands off the boy?
I will, Julian, I will.
And keep the howling blue blazes away from me, too? You promise?
I will. I'll keep the howling blue blazes away from you, too.
All right, Mr. Brink. Anybody else tries to make me let you down, you take them, too.
I will not.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, you 3 vultures, you get out of here. I'm going to stay and take care of Pud. And I don't care if the whole world goes to blazes. Go on now, go on. Good riddance. Well, that's done. Marcy? Marcy?
Yes, Mr. Northrop?
You seen Pud?
No, he ran off when I called to him.
I hurt his feelings too much, I reckon. Well, you run over to Jimmy's house, see if he's there. I'll look around back. Mr. Brink, you stay right there.
Poor man.
What's that you say?
I said, poor man.
I don't know what you mean by that, but I don't like the way you said it. Pud! Pud, where are you? Where are you, Pud?
Well, hello there, Pud.
Oh, Mr. Brink,
Your Gramps and Marcy are looking for you.
I don't care.
What's the matter?
They don't love me anymore.
What are you going to do?
Run away?
Well, you're not big enough to run away, my little man.
I am so, and I'm not your little man. I'll spit in your eye.
I'm afraid you couldn't reach
I
me.
could, too, and I could climb up on that fence.
You'd be
I
afraid.
would not, you big squasher hopper shoppers.
I see you can make up words, too.
I can do anything.
Except climb this fence.
I could do it with one hand.
Let's see.
All right.
You'll never get up on that side. Better come around here. It's much easier.
Ouch!
What happened?
I scratched my hand on the fence. I have to get some heap-a-tape.
Baby calf, afraid of a little scratch.
Who's a baby calf? I'll show you.
First, one foot up here, then... Splendid. Come on now. Just a little more. Get one leg over. There. You're up.
Gosh, I can see far from up here.
Can you see me now, Pud?
Yes. Gee, why do you make your voice so whispery, Mr. Brink?
Do you like it?
Yes.
Good. Look at me.
Gee, you've got funny eyes, Mr. Brink. They make me dizzy. You've got ghost eyes.
Look at me again. That's right. Keep on looking at me. Now, give me your hand. Lean forward. A little more. A little more. Now.
I'm falling! Gramps!
Gramps. Right here, boy. I got you in my arms.
Where am I, Gramps?
On the porch, near the tree.
I fell.
I know.
It hurts, Gramps. I want a heap of tape, Gramps. My back hurts terrible.
Hush, boy. Don't try to talk. Mr. Brink?
Yes?
Pud's in terrible pain. I think his back's broke. Why did you let him do it, Mr. Brink? Why?
My dear man, I didn't mean to hurt the boy. I just meant to take him. It was the only way. He slipped before I could touch him.
Couldn't you have found some other way?
The boy was my only hope of getting down. You see, I want you to understand what it means to you and your world to deny me. Already they are beginning to feel the bewilderment, the pain, the sorrow. It gets worse every hour.
I guess I tried to bite off more than I could chew.
Much more.
Gramps, my back.
Did he, boy? Mr. Brink?
Yes?
Would you come down, please, and take us both?
Gladly.
Gramps, a heap of tape. My back hurts terrible.
Just a minute now, boy. Just a minute. You down yet, Mr. Brink?
Just 1 second. There.
Now, I'll just touch you. No, first you, Mr. Northrop.
Say, Pud feels light as a feather now.
Now, Pud.
Hello, Mr. Brink.
Hello, Pud.
Are we dead at Gramps?
Must be. I feel like a 2-year-old. How do you feel?
I feel like a 2-year-old too, Gramps.
Mr. Brink, why didn't you tell me it was going to be like this?
My dear man, I've been trying to tell you how pleasant it is, but you wouldn't listen. Come along, both of you.
Where are we going, Gramps?
Yeah. My golly, where are we going, Mr. Brink?
You'll find out.
How long will we be there?
For eternity.
How long is eternity, Gramps?
Right smart piece of time, boy.
Anyway, we'll be together, won't we, Gramps?
You're dang right we will.
Julian? Julian Northrop? Do you have to use such language in front of the boy?
Miss Nellie. Mr. Brink, I thought you said she'd changed.
You have just heard the Best Plays production of On Borrowed Time by Paul Osborne, starring Parker Fennelly and Mildred Natwick. And here is your host, drama critic John Chapman, with a closing word.
Wherever they are now, Gramps and Little Pud are not deaded. Nor will they be, so long as there is a theater somewhere. It was a privilege to bring you this best play by Paul Osborne. And I might add that Mr. Osborne has another success on Broadway right now, Point of No Return. Next Sunday, for a change of pace in this series, we'll bring you what I consider the best thriller of the modern American theater, Patrick Hamilton's Angel Street.
The company will include the stars who played in the Broadway production: Vincent Price, Judith Evelyn, and Melville Cooper, with Elizabeth Eustace and Marjorie Maud. This is Chapman saying goodbye until then.
On Borrowed Time by Paul Osborne was adapted for radio by George Leffert, supporting Parker Fennelly and Mildred Natwick were David Anderson as Pud, Agnes Young as Demetria, Peter Capell as Mr. Brink, Terry Keane as Marcy, Louis Van Rooten as Dr. Evans, Carl Weber as the Sheriff, and Bill Griffiths as Grimes. Ed King directed. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
From New York, where the American stage begins, NBC presents Best Plays, transcribed with John Chapman. Best Plays, a series of hour-length dramas based on famous theatrical books begun by the late Burns Mantle, now edited by the distinguished drama critic of the New York Daily News, John Chapman.
Mr. Chapman.
Good evening. Somehow, I hesitate to describe the best play we are presenting here as a psychological melodrama, because that phrase doesn't have the punch it used to have. It seems to me that it used to mean a play or a movie that was enormously exciting, but still intelligent. It was a thriller that made sense and didn't have to rely on sliding panels, clutching claws, and all of the other machinery of the old-time Meller. But from what I've seen lately, on the stage at least, and a good bit of the time in the movies, a psychological melodrama is a melodrama in which nothing happens. Since nothing has happened, I go right home to bed and sleep like a practically toothless baby. But that wasn't the case on the night of December 5th, 1941, when I saw the first performance of Patrick Hamilton's Angel Street. A great deal happened in that play, even though it was psychological. It was so psychological, in fact, that it kept my head whirling for hours. What a cunning and cruel devil that Mr. Manningham was. And how clever was that very dull-looking man from Scotland Yard, Sergeant Ruff. And what a terrible time that frail, beautiful Mrs. Manningham had had. This was indeed a best play, and it was staged and acted to perfection. For our performance now, we have the original Mr. and Mrs. Manningham. Vincent Price has had many fine roles on the stage and in the films, and this ranks as one of his best. Judith Evelyn, who is one of our best actresses, won stardom in Angel Street. This season, she had the leading feminine role in another psychological thriller, and a good one this time, The Shrike. And for Sergeant Ruff, we are happy to have Melville Cooper, one of the best actors Britain ever sent us. The players are ready now, and it's time to begin. London, 1880. The living room of a house on Angel Street. The room is murky with that rather terrifying darkness of the late afternoon. The 0 hour, as it were, before the feeble dawn of gaslight and tea. In front of the fireplace on a sofa, Jack Manningham is stretched out and sleeping heavily. Sitting quietly nearby is his wife, Bella. Once she might have been called beautiful, but now she has a haggard, frightened air about her. There is a knock at the door, and Bella rises to answer it.
Did you ring, madam?
I thought I heard the muffin man go by just then, Elizabeth. I suppose you're terribly busy.
Oh, no, ma'am.
I'd like so much to have some muffins with tea. Would you mind?
Not at all, ma'am. Gladly. Anything else, ma'am?
That's all. But please close the door gently. The master's asleep.
Oh, to be sure, ma'am.
Bella, what are you doing?
Oh, nothing, dear. Don't wake yourself.
What are you doing, Bella? Come here.
Wait, muffins for tea. I only sent Elizabeth for muffins.
Why are you so apprehensive, Bella? I was not about to reproach you.
No, dear, I know you won't.
The fire's in ashes. Ring the bell, will you, Bella, dear, please?
Is it merely to put coal on, my dear? I can do that.
Now then, Bella, we've had this out before. Be so good as to ring the bell.
But dear, Elizabeth's out in the street. Let me do it. I can do
No,
it.
no. Where's the girl? Let the girl come up if Lizzie's out.
Jack, please spare me that girl. Don't call her in.
Ring the bell, please, Bella. Now, come here. What do you suppose the servants are for, Bella?
To serve us, I suppose, Jack.
Precisely. Then why do you...
I think we should consider them a little, that's all.
Consider them? There's your extraordinary confusion of mind again. You speak as though they worked for no consideration. I happen to consider Elizabeth to the tune of £16 per annum and the girl 10, £26 a year all told. And if that is not consideration of the most acute and lively kind, I should like to know what is.
Yes, Jack, I expect you're right.
I have no doubt of it, my dear. It's sheer weak-mindedness to think otherwise.
Did you ring, sir?
Yes, we rang the bell, Nancy. Well, go on, my dear. Tell her why we rang the bell.
Oh, yes, we want some coal on the fire, Nancy, please.
Very well, madam.
And after you do that, Nancy, you may as well light the gas. This darkness in the afternoon is getting beyond endurance.
Yes, sir.
You're looking very impudent and pretty this afternoon, Nancy. Do you know that?
Oh, I don't know at all, sir, I'm sure.
What is it, another broken heart added to your list?
I wasn't aware of breaking any hearts, sir.
I'm sure that's not true. And that complexion of yours, that's not true either. I wonder what mysterious lotions you've been employing to enhance your natural beauty.
I'm quite natural, sir, I promise you.
What are your secrets? Perhaps you could pass them on to Mrs. Manningham and help banish her pallor. She would be most grateful, I have no doubt.
I'd be most happy to, I'm sure, sir.
Or are women too jealous of their discoveries to pass them on to a rival?
I don't know, sir. Will that be all you're wanting, sir?
Yes, that's all I want, Nancy. Except my tea.
It'll be coming directly, sir.
Oh, Jack, how can you treat me like that?
But, my dear, you're the mistress of the house. It was your business to tell her to put the coal on.
No, it isn't that. It's humiliating me like that. That girl laughs at me enough already.
Laughs at you? What an idea. What makes you think she laughs at you?
I know that she does in secret. In fact, she does so openly, more openly every day.
But, my dear, if she does that, does not the fault lie with you?
You mean that I'm a laughable person?
I don't mean anything. It's you who read meanings into everything, Bella, dear. I wish you weren't such a perfect little silly. Now come here and stop it. I've just thought of something rather nice.
What is it, Jack? What have you thought of?
I read here that Mr. McNaughton, the celebrated actor, is in London for another season.
Yes, I read that. What of it, Jack?
What of it? Well, what do you suppose?
Oh, Jack, do you mean it? Would you take me to see McNaughton? You wouldn't take me to see McNaughton, would you?
I not only would take you to see McNaughton, my dear, I'm going to take you to see McNaughton. That is, if you want to go.
Oh, Jack, what heaven. What perfect heaven.
You can see him in comedy or tragedy, according to your choice. Which would you prefer, Bella, the comedy or the tragedy?
Oh, it's so hard to say. Which would you choose if you were me?
Well, that depends, doesn't it, upon whether you want to laugh or whether you want to cry?
Oh, well, I want to laugh. But then I should like to cry, too. Oh, Jack, dear, what made you decide to take me?
Well, my dear, you've been very good lately, and I thought it would be well to take you out of yourself.
Oh, Jack, dear, it's true, it's true. All I need is to be taken out of myself. Just some little change. To have some attention from you. I could really try to be better. If only I could get out of myself a little more.
How do you mean, my dear, exactly better?
Well, you know in what way, dear. About all that's happened lately.
Let's not speak about that.
No, dear, I don't want to be gloomy, dear. That's the last thing I want to be. I only want you to understand. Say you understand.
Well, my dear, don't I seem to? Haven't I just said I'm taking you to the theater? Well, which is it to be, Bella, the comedy or the tragedy?
Oh, which shall it be? It matters so little. It matters so wonderfully little. I'm going to the play. Do you understand that, my husband? I'm going to the play.
I brought your tea, sir.
Put it on the table, Nancy.
Just as you wish, madam.
Tell me, Nancy, if you were being taken to the theater and had to choose between comedy and tragedy, which would you choose?
Oh, I'd go for the comedy all the time.
Oh, why would you choose the comedy, Nancy?
I like to laugh, madam, I suppose.
Well, I dare say you're right. I must bear it in mind. Mr. Manningham's taking me next week, you see.
Oh, yes? I hope you enjoy it. Will that be all, madam?
You may go, Nancy.
Yes, sir.
You seem wonderfully pleased with yourself, Bella, dear. I must take you to the theater more often if this is the result.
Oh, Jack, I wish you would. Do have your tea now. I used to adore these muffins as a child. We haven't had them since we've been married, have we? Or have we? Jack?
I don't know. I'm sure I don't know. Bella.
What is it? What's the matter?
I have no desire to upset you, Bella, but I have just observed something that is very much amiss. If you will rectify it at once while I am not looking, we will assume that it has not happened.
Amiss? Well, what's amiss? Jack, please don't turn your back on me. What has happened?
Are you trying to make a fool of me, Bella? What I refer to is on the wall behind you. If you will put it back, I will say no more about it.
The wall behind me? What? Yes, the picture. The picture's been taken down. Who's taken it down? Why has it been taken down?
Yes, why is it being taken down? Why, indeed. You alone can answer that, Bella. Now, will you please take it from wherever you have hidden it and put it back on the wall again?
No, but I haven't hidden it, Jack. I haven't hidden it. Someone else must have done it.
Someone else? Are you suggesting that I should play such a fantastic and wicked trick?
Oh, no, dear, no, but someone else.
Certainly the servants would not have done so without permission or instruction.
But I didn't touch that picture.
Will you please leave go of me and sit down there? You're mad, Bella, and you don't know what you do. You unhappy wretch, you're stark, gibbering mad like your wretched mother before you.
Jack, you promised you'd never say that again.
The time has come, my dear Bella, to face facts.
Jack, I'm going to make a last appeal to you. I'm going to make a last appeal. I'm desperate, Jack. Can't you see that I'm desperate?
Go on, say what you wish to say.
I may be going mad, like my poor mother. But if I am mad, you've got to treat me gently. Jack, I never lie to you knowingly. If I've taken down that picture from its place, I've not known it. I've not known it. Jack, if I steal your things, your rings, your keys, your pencils, and your handkerchiefs, and you find them later at the bottom of my sewing box, as indeed you do, then I do not know that I've done it. Jack, if I commit these fantastic and meaningless mischiefs, so meaningless, why should I take down a picture from its place? If I do all these things, then I'm certainly going off my head. I must be treated kindly and gently so that I may get well. You must bear with me, Jack. Bear with me. I'm trying, Jack. I'm trying. Please believe that I'm trying and be kind to me.
Bella, my dear, have you any idea where that picture is now?
Yes, I suppose it's behind the cupboard.
Will you please go and see?
Yes. Yes. Yes, it's here.
Then you did know where it was, Bella.
No, I only supposed it was because it was found there before. It was found there twice before.
Now, Bella, as I said a moment ago, we have got to face facts, and that is what we have got to do. I'm not going to say any more about it at the moment, for my feelings are running too high. In fact, I am going out immediately, and I suggest that you go up to your room and lie down for a little in the dark.
Oh, no, not to my room. Please, don't send me to my room.
There is no question of sending you to your room, Bella. You know perfectly well you may do exactly as you please. Now, my dear, I'm going to leave you in peace.
Have you got to go? Must you always leave me alone after these dreadful scenes?
Now, no argument, please. I had to leave you in any case after tea. I'm merely leaving a little earlier, that's all. Oh, by the way, Bella, I shall be passing the grocer, and I may as well pay that bill of his and have it done with. Where is it, my dear? I gave it to you, didn't I?
Yes, dear, it's on the secretary.
Where is it, my dear? Is it in one of these drawers?
No, it's on the top. I put it there this afternoon.
Well, are you sure, dear? There's nothing here except some writing paper.
Jack, I'm quite sure it is there. Will you look carefully?
All right, my dear, all right. I'll find it. No, it's not here. It must be in one of the drawers.
No, it is not in one of the drawers. I put it up there on top. You're not going to tell me this is gone, are you?
Will you calm yourself?
Where is it? Now, where is it? Now you're going to say
what new trick is this you're playing upon me?
It was there this afternoon. I put it there. This is a plot.
Control yourself? Will you control yourself? Now, you listen to me, madam. If you utter another sound, I'll knock you down and take you to your room and lock you in darkness for a week. I've been too lenient with you, and I mean to alter my tactics.
Help me, Jack. Please help me.
Now, listen to me. I'm going to leave you here until 10 o'clock. In that time, you will recover that paper and admit to me that you have lyingly and purposely concealed it. If not, you will take the consequences.
Jack, please be patient with me. If I'm mad, be patient with me.
I have been patient with you and controlled myself long enough. It is now for you to control yourself. Think upon that, Bella.
Oh, Jack, don't go. Jack, you're still going to take me to the theater, aren't you?
What a question to ask me at such a time. No, madam, emphatically I am not. You play fair by me, and I'll play fair by you. If we are going to be enemies, you and I, you will not prosper, believe me.
Jack! Oh, Jack!
Madam.
Yes? What is it, Elizabeth?
There's somebody called, ma'am.
Who is it? I don't want to be disturbed.
It's a gentleman, madam. He wants to see you.
Tell him to go away. I want to be left alone.
Madam, I think you ought to see him.
No.
Will you please come in, sir?
Elizabeth, no, I'm not fit to be seen.
Good evening, Mrs. Manningham. Huh? How are you, Mrs. Manningham?
How do you do? I'm very much afraid. No doubt you've come to see my husband.
Oh, on the contrary, I've chosen this precise moment to call when I knew your husband was out. You may go, Elizabeth.
Yes, sir.
Really, I'm afraid I don't understand at all.
You will do so, madam, very shortly. You're the lady who's going off your head, aren't you?
Made you say that? Who are you?
I'm a police detective.
A police detective?
Or was some years ago. In fact, Mrs. Manningham, you have in front of you one who was quite a personage in his day. Now, I want you to take a good look at me and see if you're not looking at someone to whom you can give your trust.
Why are you here?
Well, we'll come to that. Now, I want you to answer several questions for me, Miss Manningham. First, how long have you been married?
5 years and a little.
Where have you lived all that time? Not here, have you?
No. First we went abroad. Then we lived in Yorkshire. Then 6 months ago, my husband bought this house.
You bought it?
Yes, I had a bit of money. My husband thought it was an excellent investment.
Does your husband always leave you alone like this in the evenings?
Yes, he goes to his club, I believe, and does business.
Ah. Does he give you free run of the whole house while he's out?
Yes. Well, no. Not the top floor. Why do you ask?
Before I go any further, Mrs. Manningham, I must tell you there's a leakage in this household. You have a maid, Nancy?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Nancy walks out of an evening with a young man named Booker in my employ. I live only a few streets away from you, you know.
Yes.
Well, there's hardly anything that goes on in this house which is not described in detail to Booker, and from that quarter it reaches me.
I knew it. I knew that she talked.
I fancy because of her indiscretion, you are going to be heavily in debt to your Miss Nancy.
What do you mean? You must explain.
Well, shortly, madam. Now tell me, have you ever been up to the top floor?
No, no one goes up there.
Mrs. Manning, I want to ask you a personal question. When did you first get the notion that your reason was playing at tricks?
How did you know?
Well, never mind how I know. When did it begin?
I always had that dread. My mother died insane when she was quite young. When she was my age. But only in the last 6 months in this house, things began to happen.
You interest me beyond measure. What things began to happen?
I don't know what to say. It all sounds so incredible. But it's when I'm alone at night. I get the idea that somebody's walking about up there. Up there on the top floor. At night when my husband's out, I hear noises from my bedroom, but I'm too afraid to go up.
It never struck you, did it, that it might be your own husband walking about up there?
Yes, that is what I thought. But I thought I must be mad.
Why did you think it was he?
It was the light. The gas light. In this house, I can tell everything by the light of the gas. You see that mantle there?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's burning full. But if an extra light went on in the kitchen or someone lit it in the bedroom, then this one would sink down.
Yes, insufficient pressure.
Well, every night after he goes out, I find myself waiting for something. Then all at once, I look round the room, and I see that the light is slowly going down. I go up to my bedroom, but I daren't stay there because I hear noises overhead. I want to scream and run out of the house. I sit here for hours, terrified, waiting for him to come back. And I always know when he's coming, always, because suddenly the light goes up again. And then 10 minutes afterwards, I hear his key in the lock. And he's back again.
I think you've made a very remarkable discovery, one which may have very far-reaching consequences.
Far-reaching? How?
Well, now, let's leave that alone for a moment. Tell me, that's not the only cause, is it, which has lately given you reason to doubt your sanity? Now, don't be afraid to tell me.
Yes, there are other things. It's been going on for so long, this business of the gas has just brought it to a head, but it seems that my mind and my memory are beginning to play me tricks.
Tricks? What sort of tricks?
Mr. Manningham gives me things to look after, and when he asks for them, they're gone and can never be found. I have the place for them, and he will find them lying hidden at the bottom of my workbox. Only today, before you came, that picture had been taken down from the wall and hidden. Now, who could have done it but myself? I try to remember. I break my heart trying to remember. But I can't. And then there was that terrible business about the dog.
Dog?
Yes. We have a little dog. A few weeks ago it was found with its paw hurt. He believes... How can I tell you what he believes? That I had hurt the dog.
Oh, no.
He keeps it in the kitchen and I'm not allowed to see it. So I begin to doubt, don't you see? I begin to believe that I imagine everything. Perhaps I do. Are you here? Is this a dream, too?
I assure you, you are not dreaming, madam. Mrs. Manningham, did you ever hear of the cabman's friend?
The cabman's friend?
Yeah, her name was Barlow, Alice Barlow. She was an old lady of great wealth and decided eccentricities. In fact, her principal mania in life was the protection of cabmen. She provided these men with shelters, clothing, pensions, so forth. And that was her little contribution to the sum of the world's happiness, or rather, her little stand against the sum of the world's pain. It was not my privilege to know her, but it was my duty on one occasion to see her. That was when her throat was cut open. She lay dead on the floor of her own house.
Oh, horrible. You mean she was murdered?
Yes, she was murdered. Murder was never discovered, but the motive was obvious enough. Her husband had left her the Barlow rubies, and it was well known that she kept them without any proper precautions in her bedroom on an upper floor.
But I
Murderer seemed to have got in about 10 in the night and stayed till dawn. There were only a few trinkets taken, but the whole house had been turned upside down. In the upper room, even the cushions of the chairs were ripped up with his bloody knife, and the police decided it must have been the work of a revengeful maniac as well as a robber. I had other theories, but I was nobody then and not in charge of the case.
And was the man never found?
No, Mrs. Manning, the man was never found, nor have the Barlow rubies ever come to light.
Well, then perhaps he found them after all and may be alive today.
I think he's almost certainly alive today, but I don't believe he found what he wanted. That is, if my theory is right.
Then the jewels may still be where the old lady hid them?
Mrs. Manningham, if my theory is right, the jewels must still be where she hid them. And do you conceive it possible, Mrs. Manningham, that man might never have given up hope of one day getting the treasure which he could not find the night of the murder?
Yes, possibly. But what has this to do with me?
Can you conceive that he may have waited years, gone abroad, got married even, until at last his chance came to resume the search begun on that terrible night?
Yes.
You know, Mrs. Manningham, the old theory that the criminal always returns to the scene of his crime?
Yes.
Yes, but in this case there's something more than that morbid compulsion. There's real treasure there to be unearthed if only he can search again. Search methodically, without fear of interruptions, without causing suspicion. How would he do that? Don't you think... What's the matter, Mrs. Manningham?
Quiet. Be quiet, he's come back. Look at the light. It's going down. Wait. There. He's come back, you see. He's upstairs now.
Yeah, me, that's very odd, that is. Very odd indeed.
He's in the house, I tell you. You must go. You know you're here. You must go.
How dark it is, you could hardly see to read.
Go, he's in the house. Please,
quiet,
go.
Quiet, Mrs. Manningham. Quiet, you've got to keep your head. Don't you see my meaning yet? Don't you understand that this was the house?
House? What house?
The old woman's house. The house here, these rooms, these walls. 15 years ago, Alice Barlow lay dead on the floor in this room. 15 years ago, the man who murdered her ransacked this house but could not find what he sought. What if he's still searching, Mrs. Manningham? What if he's up there, still searching?
But my husband is up there.
Precisely that, Mrs. Manningham. Your husband. You see, I'm afraid you're married to a tolerably dangerous gentleman.
The idea is mad. I've been married 5 years. How can you imagine my husband is what you imagine he may be?
Why, ma'am, because I was on the case when the police came to this place 15 years ago. You can understand there's a great deal of routine work to be done, interviewing your relatives, friends, and so forth. Well, most of that was left to me.
Well?
Among those I interviewed was a young man of the name of Sidney Power.
Power?
Sidney Power. Conveys nothing to you?
Power? No.
He was a kind of distant cousin. The only thing was that I remembered his face. Well, I saw that face again just a few weeks ago. Took me a whole day to recollect where I'd seen it before, and at last I remembered it.
Well, what if you did remember it?
Yeah, well, what startled me was the lady on his arm and the locality in which I saw him.
Who was the lady on his arm?
You were the lady on his arm, Mrs. Manningham, and you were walking down this street.
You mean you think my husband is this Mr. Power?
Well, if my theories are correct.
But what are you saying? You stand there talking riddles. You're so cold. You're as heartless and cold as he is.
No, Mrs. Manningham, I'm not cold, and I'm not talking riddles. I'm just trying to preserve a cold and calculating tone because you are up against the most awful moment in your life, and your whole future depends on what you're going to do this next hour. Nothing less. You've got to strike for your freedom, and strike now. The moment may not come again.
Strike?
Mrs. Manningham, you are not going out of your mind. You are slowly, methodically, systematically being driven out of your mind. And why? Because you're married to a criminal maniac who steals back to his own house at night, still searching for something he could not find 15 years ago. These are the facts, wild and incredible as they seem. Now, every night for the last few weeks, he has entered his house next door from the back, climbed to the roof, and come into his house by the skylight. I know that because I've watched him. Mrs. Manningham, so far I'm only dealing in guesses and half facts. I've got to have evidence, and that's why I've come to see you. You've got to give me the evidence or help me find it.
This is my husband, don't you understand? This is my husband. You must go. I must think this out. I must cling to the man I married, mustn't I?
Oh, indeed, cling to him by all means, but do not imagine you're the only piece of ivy on the garden wall. You can cling to him if you desire, as his fancy women in the low resorts of the town cling to him. This is the sort of wall you have to cling to, ma'am.
Women? What are you suggesting?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm only telling you what I've seen. He comes to life at night, this gentleman upstairs, in more ways than one. I've made it my business to follow him in some of his less serious excursions, and I can promise you he has a taste in unemployed actresses which he's at no pains to conceal.
In heaven, what am I to believe?
Madam, do I have your trust?
What do you want me to do? What do you want?
I want his papers, Mrs. Manningham, his identity.
Papers? I know of no papers, unless his desk. It's there, but he keeps it always locked. I've never seen it open.
Very well, you shall see it open now. Do you mind if I take off my coat? Mrs. Manningham, one of the greatest regrets of my life is that fate never made me one of two things. One was a gardener and the other a burglar. Both quiet occupations. You know, as for burgling, I think if I'd started young and worked up my way, I should have been a genius.
But you must not touch his desk. He'll know what you've done.
Not if we are clever enough. You see, Mrs. Manningham,
stop.
there are always...
Haven't you noticed something? Look. Can't you see? The light. It's going up. He's coming back. He's coming back, and you must go.
Oh, bless myself. This looks as if the unexpected has ended in. Very well. You must ring for Elizabeth.
Well, why do you want Elizabeth?
There's no time to waste. Ring for Elizabeth, madam.
Very well, but you must go. Please, please.
All in good time. Now, he's not going to jump in through the window, you know. In fact, he can't be round the front door in less than 5 minutes. Unless he's a magician.
Please, please go.
Yes, madam.
Ah, Elizabeth, come here, will you?
Yes.
Elizabeth, you and I have got to do a little quite calm but rather quick thinking. Now, you told me you're anxious to help your mistress, Elizabeth?
Why, yes, sir. I told you I was, sir.
Oh, are you anxious to help her blindly without asking any questions?
Yes, sir, but you see...
Now, come now, Elizabeth. Are you or are you not?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. Now, Elizabeth, Mrs. Manning and I have reason to suppose in about 5 minutes' time the master is returning to this house. He mustn't see me leaving. Now, would you be good enough to take me down to your kitchen and hide me away for a short space of time? You can put me in the oven if you like.
Yes, sir, but you see...
You must go. He won't see you if you go now.
Yeah, what were you saying, Elizabeth?
You could come to the kitchen, sir, but Nancy's down there, sir.
Yes, we'll find another place. Where are you going to hide me, Elizabeth?
through the door behind you, sir, is where he dresses, where he keeps his clothes. There's a big wardrobe there at the back.
It'll have to suffice us. Now, we really have to hurry. Get all to bed, Mrs. Manningham, quick. And you, Elizabeth, get back to your work.
To bed? Am I to go to bed?
Yes, and quickly.
But if I go to bed...
Will you go, in heaven's name? There's not a second to spare. Hurry!
Did you ring, sir?
Yes, I did. Where is Mrs. Manningham, Elizabeth?
I think she's gone to bed, sir. I think she had a headache and went to bed.
Oh, indeed. And how long has she been in bed, do you know?
She went just a little while ago, sir. I think, sir.
Oh, I see. Then we must be quiet, mustn't we? Walk about like cats. Can you walk about like a cat, Elizabeth?
Yes, sir. I think so, sir.
Very well, then. Walk about like a cat. That will be all, Elizabeth.
Excuse me, sir. But were you going to have some supper, sir?
Oh, yes, I'm going to have some supper, Elizabeth. I'm having it out. I have just come home to change my linen. What did you think about Mrs. Manningham tonight, Elizabeth?
In what way do you mean, sir?
Oh, just as regards her general health.
I don't know, sir. She certainly seems very unwell.
Yes, I doubt if you can guess to what extent she's unwell. Or are you beginning to guess?
I don't know, sir.
I'm at my wit's end, Elizabeth. You know that, don't you?
I expect you are, sir.
I've tried everything, kindness, patience, cunning, even harshness to bring her to her senses. But nothing will stop these wild, wild hallucinations. Nothing will stop these wicked pranks and tricks.
It seems very terrible, sir.
Oh, you don't know a quarter of it, Elizabeth. You only see what is forced upon your attention. You have no conception of what goes on all the time. You know, don't you, that I shall have to bring a doctor to see Mrs. Manningham before very long. I've fought against it to the last, but it can't be kept a secret much longer.
No, sir.
I mean to say, you know what goes on. You can testify to what goes on, can't you?
Indeed, sir. Yes.
Indeed, you may have to testify in the end, Elizabeth. You realize that, don't you?
Yes, sir. I only want to do what's best for both of you.
You're a very loyal soul, Elizabeth. And you will be repaid for your loyalty.
I only want to serve, sir.
Yes. Yes, I know that. Well, Elizabeth, I'm going out. In fact, I'm even going to try to be a little gay. Can you understand that, Elizabeth, or do you think it very wrong?
Oh, no, sir. You should get all the pleasure you can, sir, while you can.
I wonder. Yes, I wonder. It's a curious existence, isn't it? Well, good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, sir. Good night.
Well, now, Elizabeth, the master's safely out of the house, so I think you might go and get Mrs. Manningham.
Yes, sir. I'll get her, sir.
I was watching from the window and saw him go.
Good, madam. Elizabeth, we've been so occupied this evening that the tea things haven't been returned to the kitchen. You'll see to it, won't you?
Yes, sir.
What did he want? What did he come back for?
He only came back to change his clothes, madam. If you need me, madam, I'll be nearby.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Now, let's have another look at this desk. Let's try this one. There we are. Let's see. Doesn't seem to be much here, does there? When she got there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poor detective...
What's that you have in your hand? What's that you have in your hand?
Why, you recognize this?
Why, yes, that's my brooch. Is there anything else there? Oh, look, it's my watch.
Was also your property, then?
It's this watch I lost a week ago. My brooch has been missing 3 months. And he said he would give me no more gifts because I lost them. He said that in my wickedness I hid them away. Oh, Inspector, is there anything else? Is there a bill there? Is there a grocery bill?
Grocery bill? No, doesn't seem to be. Perhaps in the second drawer. No. Doesn't seem to fit, does it? Has it ever been opened to your knowledge?
I think he has a special lock on it.
Well, we just have to force it.
But you must not do that. What shall I say to my husband when he comes back?
I've no idea what you will say when he comes back, Mrs. Manningham. But then I have no idea what you will do if I have no evidence to remove you from his loving care.
I'm afraid. What can I do?
There's only one thing to do. I'm going to force it and gamble on finding something. Are you with me?
No, but don't you see that... All right, force it, but be quick.
Now, let's have a look.
Is there anything there?
Well, Mr. Manningham, letters, papers, that. No, we've lost our gamble. Nothing we want here.
What are we going to do?
Well, first, let's get these things back to begin with. The watch?
Yes, here.
The brooch?
Yes, here it is.
Yeah, it's a nice piece of jewelry. Where did he give it you?
Soon after we were married. But it was only second-hand.
How did you know?
There's an inscription to someone else inside. It says from CB to AB.
From CB to AB? How very odd. What are these spaces here for?
Well, there were some beads in it, but they were all loose and falling out, so I took them out.
Have you got them by any chance?
Yes, I think so. I put them in the vase on the mantel.
May I see them, please?
Yes, they should still be here.
There should be 9 altogether, I think.
That's right. Yes, here they are. Yes, they're all here.
Let me see. Oh, how very odd. My dear Mrs. Manningham, have you ever been embraced by an elderly detective in his shirt sleeves?
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, that is your immediate fate at this moment. Oh, my dear, dear Mrs. Manningham, don't you understand? Don't you see?
No, what are you so excited about?
Madam, you are looking at the Barlow rubies. These beads are 12,000 pounds worth of rubies. Take a good look at them before they go to Her Majesty the Queen.
And I had them all the time.
All because he could not resist a little common theft along with a big game. Well, it's I am after the big game now. What time did he give me back?
I don't know. He's not usually in until 11.
Oh, well, then we put the brooch back where we found it, down there, on the right.
On the
That's
right,
yes. Yes. Now, I want you to go to your room. Lock your door and do not leave your room under any circumstance.
Oh, please don't leave me. I have a feeling. Don't leave me.
You have nothing to fear so long as you remain in your room with your door locked. Now, you'll do that, won't you?
Yes, Inspector. I'll say my headache is worse. Only don't make me stay there long. I'm so afraid.
You are listening to the Best Plays production of Angel Street by John Patrick, starring Vincent Price, Judith Evelyn, and Melville Cooper, with Elizabeth Eustace and Marjorie Maud. In a moment, we will return with Act Two. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company. And now, before we resume with Act Two of John Patrick's Angel Street on Best Plays, here is John Chapman.
The season of 1941-1942 had another thriller, too. It was Uncle Harry by Thomas Job, which, by the way, we'll be doing later in this series. It was wartime then, and a good many dramas dealt with national and international affairs. John Huston, the movie writer and director, collaborated on a best play called In Time to Come, about Woodrow Wilson and the League of Nations. John Steinbeck had a drama about Nazi brutality, The Moon is Down. Maxwell Anderson also did one about the Germans, Candle in the Wind. There was still another good war play, Letters to Lucerne. But not all of Broadway was serious. Noel Coward came up with one of his happiest comedies, Blithe Spirit, and Jerome Chodoroff and Joseph Fields hit another laughing jackpot with Junior Miss. Patrick Hamilton, who was a Londoner, wrote his melodrama about Mr. and Mrs. Manningham before the war under the title of Gaslight. It was a great success in London, but it went begging in New York for 2 years until producer Shepard Traub took a chance on it and changed its name. A very good movie was made under the original title of Gaslight. But now we should be moving into the second act of our play, which is Angel Street. It is now 11 o'clock. In the living room of the house on Angel Street, Mr. Manningham has just returned. He enters the room and in a slow and deliberate way pulls the bell cord. After a few moments, the door opens and Nancy enters.
Yes, sir?
Nancy, would you please go upstairs and tell Mrs. Manningham that I wish to see her down here?
If I may say so, sir, I doubt if she'll come. Elizabeth says she has an headache and is trying to sleep.
Oh. Did you ever know a time when Mrs. Manningham did not have a headache, Nancy?
No, sir, hardly ever, sir.
Will you be so good as to come a little closer, Nancy, where I can see you?
Yes, sir.
What do you do with your evenings, Nancy?
I usually spend them with friends, sir.
You know, Nancy, when you say friends, I have an extraordinary idea that you mean gentlemen friends.
Well, sir, possibly I might.
You know, gentlemen friends have been known to take decided liberties with young ladies like yourself. Are you alive to such a possibility?
Oh, no, sir, not with me. I can look after myself.
And are you always so anxious to look after yourself?
No, sir, not always, perhaps.
You know, Nancy, pretty as your bonnet is, it's not anything near so pretty as your hair beneath it. Won't you take it off and let me see it?
Very good, sir. Comes off easy enough. There. Is there anything more you want, sir?
Yes, possibly. Come here, Nancy.
Yes, sir. Is there anything you want, sir? What do you want, eh? What do you want? There. Can she do that for you? Can she do that?
Why, who can you be talking about, Nancy?
You know who I mean, all right.
You know you're a very remarkable girl in many respects, Nancy. Why, I believe you're jealous of your mistress.
There's no need to be jealous of her. You're mine now, ain't you? Because you want me. You do want me, don't you?
And what of you, Nancy? Do you want me?
Oh, yes, I always wanted you, ever since I first clapped eyes on you.
Well, Nancy, you've taken me a little by surprise. We shall talk this over tomorrow.
Well, you let me know when she's about.
Oh, I'll find a way, Nancy. I don't believe Mrs. Manningham will be here tomorrow. I don't think that...
What is it, your lordship? Why are you looking that way?
That desk drawer. Somebody's been tampering with it. See there, the wood split.
It's her, I'll be bound.
Nancy, will you please go upstairs and take a message for me to Mrs. Manningham?
Yes, what do you want me to say?
Will you please tell her that I wish to see her down here this instant, whether she is suffering from a sick headache or any other form of ailment?
Just like that, sir?
Just like that, Nancy.
With the greatest of pleasure, sir.
Well, Nancy?
She won't come.
What do you mean she won't come?
She says she can't come. She's not well enough. She's just shamming, if you ask me.
Oh, really? Then she forces me to be undignified and go to her.
The door's locked. I tried it, and she won't let you in. I can tell by her voice. Are you going to batter it in?
No. No, perhaps you're right. Let us try more delicate means of attaining our ends. Perhaps you will take a note to this wretched imbecile and slip it under her door.
Yes, I'll do that. What are you writing to?
Never mind what I'm writing. I'll tell you what you can do, though, Nancy. Just go down in the basement and fetch me the little dog, will you?
The dog?
The dog, yes.
What's the game?
Never mind, just go and get it.
All right.
Or on second thought, Nancy, perhaps you need not get the little dog. We'll just let it be supposed we have the little dog. Here you are, Nancy. Please go and put this note under her door.
What have you written?
No, nothing very much. Just a little smoke for getting rats out of holes. Run along.
You're a rum beggar, ain't you?
Go along, Nancy. And after you deliver the note, I would be obliged if you will go to bed at once. Good night.
Give her what for, won't you? Ta-ta.
There you are, Bella. Come and sit down in this chair, please.
Where's the dog?
Dog? What dog?
You said you had the dog.
Have you hurt it again?
Again? This is strange talk, Bella, after what you did to the little dog a few weeks ago. Come and sit down here.
I do not wish to speak to you. I'm not well. I thought you had the dog and were going to hurt it. That's why I came down.
The dog, my dear Bella, was merely a ruse to compel you to pay me a visit quietly. Come and sit down where I told you.
No.
Come and sit down where I told you.
That's what you want.
I want quite a good deal, Bella. Sit down and make yourself comfortable. We have plenty of time.
Say what you have to say.
Now, you are not sitting in the chair that I indicated, Bella.
What are you to say?
Are you afraid of me that you desire to get so near the door?
No, I'm not afraid of you.
No? Then you have a good deal of courage, my dear. However, will you now come and sit down where I told you?
Yes.
Sit down. Do you know what you reminded me of, Bella, as you walked across the room?
No, what did I remind you
A
of?
somnambulist, Bella. Have you ever seen such a person?
No, I've never seen one.
Haven't you? Not that funny, glazed, dazed look of the wandering mind, the body that acts without the soul to guide it. I've often thought you had that look, Bella, but it was never so strong as it was tonight.
And my mind is not wandering.
No? When I came in tonight, Bella, I was told you had gone to bed.
Yes, I've gone to bed.
Then may I ask why you are still fully dressed?
I don't know.
You don't know. Do you know anything about anything you do?
I don't know. I forgot to undress.
You forgot to undress. A curious oversight, if I may say so, Bella. You know, you give me the appearance of having had rather an exciting time since I last saw you. Almost as though you'd been up to something. Have you been up to anything?
I don't know what you mean.
Did you find that bill I told you to find?
No.
Do you remember what I said would happen to you if you did not find that bill when I returned tonight?
No.
No? No? The array of your mental and physical deficiencies is growing almost overwhelming. I would advise you to answer me.
What do you want me to say?
What was it I asked you to remember?
I don't understand your words. You talk round and round. My head is going round and round.
Not necessary to tell me that, Bella. I was just wondering if it might interrupt its gyratory motion for a fraction of a second and concentrate upon the present conversation. Now, please, what was it I, a moment ago, asked you if you remembered?
You asked me if I remembered what you said would happen to me if I did not find that bill.
Admirable, my dear Bella, admirable. We shall make a great logician of you yet. A Socrates, a John Stuart Mill. You shall go down to history as the shining mind of your day. That is, if your present history does not altogether submerge you, take you away from your fellow creatures. And there is a danger of that, you know. Well, what did I say I would do to you if you did not find that bill?
You said you would lock me up.
And do you believe me to be a man of my word? Yet you did not find the bill I instructed you to find.
No.
Did you look for it?
Yes.
Where did you look for it?
Oh, around the room.
Around the room? Where around the room? In my desk, for instance?
No, not in your desk.
Why not in my desk?
Your desk is locked.
Do you imagine you can lie to me?
I'm not lying.
Come here, Bella.
What do you want?
Now you listen to me. Your dark, confused, rambling mind has led you into playing some pretty tricks tonight, has it not?
My mind is tired. I want to go to bed.
Your mind indeed is tired. Your mind is so tired it can no longer work at all. You do not think, you dream. Dream all day long. Dream everything. Dream maliciously and incessantly. Don't you know that by now, you sleepwalking imbecile? What have you been dreaming tonight? Where is your mind wandered that you have split open my desk? What strange disease dream have you had tonight, eh?
Dream? Are you saying I've dreamed? Dreamed all that happened?
All that happened when, Bella, tonight? Of course you dreamed all that happened, or rather all that did not happen.
Dreamed tonight? Are you saying I've dreamed? What have I dreamed? Have I dreamed again?
Have I not told you?
I haven't dreamed. I haven't. Don't tell me I've dreamed anything. Don't tell me.
What was this dream of yours, Bella? You interest me.
I dreamt of a man. I dreamt of a man.
You dreamed of a man? What man did you dream of, pray?
A man that came to see me. Oh, let me rest.
Pull yourself together, Bella. What man are you talking about?
I dreamed a man came
I know you dreamed it, you gibbering wretch. I want to hear more about this man of whom you dreamed. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
I dream. I dream.
Was I any part of this curious dream of yours, Mrs. Manningham? Perhaps my presence here will help you recall it.
May I ask who the devil you are and how you got in here?
Well, who I am seems a little doubtful. Apparently, I'm a mere figment of Mrs. Manningham's imagination. As to how I got in, I came in, or rather, I came back. Or better still, I effected an entrance a few minutes before you, and I've been hidden away ever since.
Would you be kind enough to tell me what you are doing here?
Waiting for some friends, Mr. Manningham. Waiting for some friends. Don't you think you'd better go to bed, Mrs. Manningham? You look very tired.
Don't you think you had better explain your business, sir?
Well, as a mere figment, as a mere ghost existing only in your wife's mind, I can hardly be said to have any business. Tell me, Mr. Manningham, can you see me? No doubt your wife can, but it must be difficult for you. Now, perhaps if she goes to her room, I will vanish, and you won't be bothered by me anymore.
Bella, go to your room. I shall find out the meaning of this and deal with you in due course.
Jack?
Go to your room, Bella. I will call you down later. I have not finished with you yet, madam.
Hello? I believe you're wrong there, Manningham. I believe that is just what you have done.
Done what?
Finished with your wife, my friend.
Who are you, sir?
I have no name, Manningham. In my present capacity, I am, as I pointed out, a mere spirit. Perhaps a spirit of something that you have evaded all your life. But in my case, only a spirit. Will you have a cigar with a spirit? We might have to wait some time.
Are you going to tell me your business, sir? Or am I going to fetch a policeman and have you turned out?
Oh, an admirable idea. I could have thought of nothing better myself. Yes, fetch a policeman, Manningham. Have me turned out. Huh? Why do you wait?
Alternatively, sir, I can turn you out myself.
Yes, but why not fetch a policeman?
You give me the impression, sir, of having something up your sleeve. Will you please go on with what you were saying?
Yes, certainly. Where was I? Yes. Excuse me, Manningham. You get the same impression as myself?
Impression? What impression?
An impression that the light is going down in this room.
I had not noticed it.
Oh, there now. Perhaps it's more noticeable. Do you perceive it, Mr. Manningham? Eerie, isn't it? Now we're almost in the dark. What do you think's happened, huh? You don't suppose a light has been put on somewhere else? You don't suppose there are other spirits, fellow spirits of mine, spirits of justice even, which have caught up with you at last, Mr. Manningham?
Are you off your head, sir?
No, sir, just an old man seeing ghosts. Must be the atmosphere of this house. You know one ghost I can see, Mr. Manningham? You could hardly believe it.
What ghost do you see, please?
I see the ghost of an old woman, sir. An old woman who once lived in this house. An old woman getting ready to go to bed at the end of the day. Now I seem to see another ghost as well. I see the ghost of a young man, Mr. Manningham. Handsome, tall, well-groomed young man. But this young man has murder in his eyes. Why, bless my soul. He might be you, Mr. Manningham. He might be you. The old woman sees him. She screams for help. Screams before her throat is cut open with a knife.
What's your game, eh? What's your game?
I want you to take a look at this trinket, sir. Do you recognize it?
It's a brooch which I gave my wife.
A brooch which she didn't appreciate, huh? How wicked of her. But then, you see, she didn't know its value. How was she to know that it held the Barlow rubies?
Oh, what?
There you are, sir. You killed one woman for these, and you tried to drive another out of her mind. And all the time they lay on your own desk. And all they have brought you is a rope around your neck, Mr. Sidney Power.
You seem, sir, to have some very remarkable information. Do you imagine that you are going to leave this room with such information in your possession?
Do you imagine, sir, that you were going to leave this room without suitable escort?
May I ask what you mean by that?
Only I've men in the house already. Didn't you realize they had signaled their arrival from above, your own way in, Mr. Manningham, when the lights went down?
You fail to intimidate me, sir. I do not believe you.
Then perhaps you'll be convinced if you will open the doorway to the hall. You will find 2 policemen there.
What the devil's this?
Take him, gentlemen.
Here you go. Leave go of me. Leave go of me. Here's a fine way of going on. Here's
the bell cord here. Tied with him.
Go of me.
Sidney Charles Power, I have a warrant for your arrest for the murder of Alice Barlow. I should warn you that anything you may now say will be taken down in writing and used as evidence at a later date. Now, will you accompany us to the station in a peaceful manner? You will oblige us all and serve your own interests best by coming quietly. Very well, take him away.
Inspector Off.
Yes, my dear?
Inspector.
Yes?
I want to speak to my husband.
Surely there's nothing to be...
I want to speak to him alone.
Alone?
I beg of you to allow me. I shan't keep him long.
Well, I don't quite understand, but... All right, very well. You may speak to him alone. Make him fast in this chair. It's anything but in order, but, well, we'll wait outside.
I do not want you to listen.
No, we will not listen. All right, gentlemen, outside.
Jack. Jack, what have they done to you? What have they done?
It's all right, Bella. You're clever, my darling, terribly clever. Now, get something to cut this rope. I can get out through the dressing room window and make a jump for it. Can you get something, Bella?
Yes, I can get something. What can I get?
There's a razor in my dressing room, Bella. Will you get it for me? Quick, Bella.
A razor?
Quick, be a good girl. There's a good girl. Quick,
I'll get
Bella.
it for you.
Quick, be quick. Hurry, Bella, hurry.
I've got it.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. Open the case, Bella. Open it and cut me loose.
Jack.
Yes.
There's a grocery bill. The grocery bill was in your razor case. You see, dear, I didn't lose it. I told you I didn't.
Cut me loose, Bella.
But, Jack, how did this bill get in there?
I was mistaken about the grocery bill, Bella. Use that razor quick.
What? Razor? Razor? Are you suggesting this is a razor I hold in my hand? Have you gone mad, my husband?
Bella, what are you up to?
Or is it I who am mad? Yes, of course, that's it. It's I who am mad.
Oh.
Of course it was a razor. I've lost it. I've lost it, haven't I?
No, the razor's lying at your feet, Bella. Bring it here.
I'm always losing things. I can never find them. I don't know where I put them.
Bella.
I must look for it, mustn't I? I don't find it. You lock me in my room.
No.
Lock me in the madhouse for my mischief. No. Where could it be now? Could it be behind the picture?
No.
It must be there.
No.
Oh, it's not there. How strange. Where now shall I look? Where shall I... The desk. Perhaps I put it in the desk. Oh, it's not there. How strange. But here's a watch. Here's a bill. See, I found them at last. But they don't help you, do they? I'm trying to help you, aren't I? To help you to escape. How can a mad woman help her husband to escape? What a pity. If I were not mad, I could have helped you. If I were not mad, whatever you had done, I could have pitied and protected you. But because I'm mad, I've hated you. Because I'm mad, I've betrayed you. Because I'm mad, I'm rejoicing in my heart. Without a shred of pity, without a shred of regret. Watching you go with glory in my heart.
Bella! Bella!
Bella!
Take this man away. Take him away. All right, gentlemen. Remove him. Elizabeth, quick. Glass of water for Miss Manningham. Yes, there, my dear. Now, come. Sit down. You had a bad time. I came in from nowhere and gave you the most horrible evening of your life. The most horrible evening of anybody's life, I should imagine.
Most horrible. No, the most wonderful. Far and away the most wonderful.
You have just heard the Best Plays production of Angel Street by John Patrick, starring Vincent Price, Judith Evelyn, and Melville Cooper, with Elizabeth Eustace and Marjorie Maud. And here is your host, drama critic John Chapman, with a closing word.
Good old Sergeant Ruff. Mrs. Manningham certainly wasn't a lucky woman, wasn't she? I'd like to thank Miss Evelyn, Mr. Price, and Mr. Cooper for an exciting performance. Next Sunday, the best play of this series will be The Hasty Heart by John Patrick. And this will be another change of pace for us. It is an interesting work, basically a comedy, but with an undertone of compelling sentiment. It's about a wounded soldier and a nurse who brings this boy to a new enjoyment of life. Ann Burr played the nurse in the original production of this best play, and she will act it again next Sunday. John Sylvester will be the young soldier. This is Chapman saying goodbye until then.
Angel Street was adapted for radio by Earl Hamner. Vincent Price was Mr. Manningham, and Judith Evelyn was Mrs. Manningham. Melville Cooper was Sergeant Ruff. Elizabeth was played by Marjorie Maud, and Nancy by Elizabeth Eustace. Best Plays is an NBC production supervised by William Welch and directed by Edward King. Your announcer is Howard Reed.
From New York, where the American stage begins, NBC presents Best Plays, transcribed with John Chapman. Best Plays, a series of hour-length dramas selected from the outstanding successes of the New York stage. Now, John Chapman, drama critic of the New York Daily News, is here to introduce Sir Cedric Hardwicke in The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse by Barry Lyndon. Mr. Chapman.
Thank you. Welcome, friends and listeners, to another session of our Theater in the Ear. 2 weeks ago, our best play was an English drama about Napoleon, St. Helena. The same year that this piece was done on Broadway, we had another interesting import from London, a melodrama by Barry Lyndon titled The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse. And in the title role, we had an imported English actor, Sir Cedric Hardwicke. Sir Cedric had come to us once before, but it was his Dr. Clitterhouse which made us sit up and take notice of him. Since then, we have practically taken peaceful possession of the man. Hardwicke is known for his very many smooth roles in the movies and for his many contributions to the New York stage, not only as an actor, but also as a producer and director. He was a calm and witty Caesar to Lily Palmer's beautiful and feline Cleopatra in Shaw's Caesar and Cleopatra. As a matter of fact, Hardwicke, I think, was Shaw's favorite actor and Shaw's favorite director of Shaw plays. Cedric was even more calm and witty as the statue in Don Juan in Hell. One time in Hollywood, I was chatting about acting with Sir Cedric, and I commented on his uncanny knack of riveting an audience's attention upon himself by standing still. Most actors think they can hold or steal a scene by fluttering about or catching flies, as they say in the theater. But the Hardwicke method is much more effective and much more legitimate. I told him the only other actor I ever saw with your complete poise was Sacha Guitry in Paris. Cedric looked at me with a deadpan and a twinkle in his eye, and he said, "I learned it from Sacha, old boy." Our best play now is the thriller The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse. Dr. Clitterhouse is a London physician, but his consulting room is not in the traditional Harley Street or the Baker Street, which was frequented and still is haunted by a doctor named Watson. Our man conducts his practice in the neighborhood of St. John's Wood. Here and elsewhere in London we shall meet him and a number of other interesting characters. An inspector from Scotland Yard, of course, and a devilish fellow named Benny Kellerman. Our opening scene is the consulting room of Dr. Clitterhouse. It is 1 o'clock in the morning, but in the consulting room the lights are still on, and Nurse Ann is, for the 4th time, heating the pot of coffee she has brewed hours before. Now, why should Nurse Ann be heating coffee and staying up this late? She's in love with Dr. Clitterhouse, but of course he doesn't know it. Dr. Clitterhouse comes in, apparently in great haste, somewhat breathless, but he stops short when he sees Nurse Ann.
Oh, hello, Nurse. Waiting up for me?
Well, I wondered what had happened to you, Doctor.
Well, I was held up.
I have coffee here.
Very thoughtful, but let it go for the moment. Help me with this, will you?
Doctor, are you going to do a blood pressure?
I am.
At 1 in the morning?
At 1 in the morning?
Not your own.
Yes. Here, you work the bulb.
Well, there's nothing to worry about there.
No, there isn't, is there? Well, it was up before I went out. Oh, well.
Was that an experiment of some sort?
Well, one could call it that.
Coffee?
Thanks.
Oh, Doctor, you've picked up some paint from somewhere. Look at your jacket.
What?
I'll get it off with some ether.
Very awkward. Have to be more careful in the future.
Doctor, this can't be your bag.
Don't touch that. Now, who gave you leave to touch that bag?
I'm sorry. I thought the ether would be in here.
Of course, naturally, I beg your pardon, Nurse. Well, now that you've seen what's in the bag, what do you think of them?
Well, they're beautiful, aren't they? These pearls in particular.
I suppose they are.
And this brooch.
Nurse?
Yes, Doctor?
At the moment, we're being strictly professional. I didn't mean you to see this at all. It's very confidential.
Well, I don't quite understand, but of course you can trust me, Doctor.
Well, that's very fortunate, because you see, all this is stolen.
Stolen?
With my own hands, Nurse. Look at them, by the way, my hands, I mean. Not a tremor. Oh, that's pretty good, you know.
Doctor, you don't really mean that you've stolen these things.
They are the proceeds of my 4th burglary.
Impossible.
At Cranston Lodge, the Andersons' house.
And I suppose you got the paint on your jacket while you were breaking in.
That's right.
Oh, really, Doctor?
Here, get this paint off, will you?
All right. I suppose you have to guard against little clues like this.
Yes, I left my hat behind at my 3rd burglary and had to go back for it. That was at Lady Challing's.
Oh, yes. I read about that. And so apparently did you, Doctor. The burglars got in from the garage roof.
I got in, you mean? I borrowed the gardener's ladder and forced a landing window with a table knife. I picked the lock with a bit of wire and forced the drawer with a tire lever. Paint off yet?
It's off, Doctor.
Oh. It's off apparently just in time. See you at the door, will you?
Certainly.
Good evening, Nurse.
Why, it's Inspector Charles.
Good evening, Doctor. I saw a light in the hall, so thought I'd ring the bell.
Oh, come in, Charlie, come in. Well, you're a long way from the yard, aren't you?
I'm a long way from my bed, Cliff. Who's in charge of the coffee around here?
I'll get you some, Inspector.
What are you doing over here, Charlie? Or is it a secret?
I'm supposed to be inquiring into that little bit of nocturnal thieving at Lady Challenger's.
Lady Challenger's?
The 3rd burglary, Nurse.
That's right. The 3rd burglary around here in a fort. How did you know?
Oh, inside information, old boy.
Oh, of course. Newspapers.
What are you doing about it?
I told you, just hanging around. You see, we know those 3 jobs were done by the same man.
How do you know?
Oh, by the style, as it were. I'm really just waiting for him to do a 4th. And then we'll probably get him. The constable knows where to reach me.
Are you expecting another burglary tonight?
In a way. The first 3 were done at 4-day intervals. He'll do another soon. Not that he'll be easy to net.
You mean he's clever?
I'll tell you how clever.
Milk and sugar, Inspector?
No, thanks, my dear. I'll take it black. On Lady Challenger's job, this man took a ladder which the gardener had left under the hedge and got onto the garage roof with it. Then he forced a landing window with a table knife. We know that by the marks. He picked the lock on the library door and forced the desk with something thin.
A tire lever, perhaps?
Very likely.
A table knife and a tire lever. Smart, you know.
Smart. The fellow's an absolute amateur.
Amateur? Now, look here.
He climbed ladders and roofs, crept through the house, and picked the lock. But the library window, the very room he wanted to get into, was undone all the time.
What? It was?
Would you have said he was an inexperienced burglar, Inspector?
Oh, a raw amateur.
Has this burglar taken very much, Inspector?
Oh, quite a bit.
Lady Channing had a diamond necklace, a thing like a dog collar. He got that. She says it's worth 2,000 pounds.
Is it?
No.
Oh, I suppose not. Tell me, Charlie, how do these burglars get rid of their swag?
Oh, break it up or use a fence.
Fence? Receiver, you mean?
Yes, but this fellow had better not try that. A fence won't take chances with anyone he doesn't know.
Are they all like that?
Pretty much so.
Well, who would you call a good fence?
Oh, they're all bad. There'd be no stealing without them. There's nothing smart about any of them. Except perhaps one fellow.
Who's that?
A chap called Kellerman. Benny Kellerman.
Kellerman?
Oh, he's behind a lot of stealing. You understand this is between ourselves, Chris?
Of course, yes. And we can trust Nurse Anne, can't we, Nurse?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, Doctor.
Yes, we've been after Kellerman time and again, but he's a leery bird.
He is, eh?
Yes, he used to be a working jeweler and watchmaker, then he got into trouble.
Now he runs one of those little clubs.
Oh, as you told me about him. Is his in the East End?
No, off Theobald Road.
Hello? Yes? Yes, he's here. It's for you, Inspector Charles.
Thank you. Hello? Yes, Constable. What? Yes, at once. Goodbye. What did I tell you?
Not your amateur burglar again.
You're right. Cranston Lodge, Councillor Anderson's place.
Anderson's place?
Yes, well, thanks for giving me shelter. I'll have to be off now.
Well, so long, Charlie.
Good night, Doctor.
So, there has been a burglary at Anderson's house.
And you've seen the proceeds.
But you can't be the inspector's burglar.
Well, I should be if you caught me. I wish we could have taken my blood pressure when he walked in here.
Do you mean that you've really and truly stolen those things?
4 burglaries within a fortnight, and he calls me an amateur.
4 burglaries? Doctor, you can't realize what you're doing.
I think I have a pretty good idea, Nurse.
But you can't have. Why could you possibly want that jewelry? And, Doctor, if you were caught...
Yes, that would be awkward, wouldn't it?
It would be terrible.
You know, I have a very good reason for all this.
Is there a good reason for burglary? For stealing?
In this case, there is, Nurse. You know, I believe I'm onto something that's very much worthwhile. You stumbled onto part of my secret. Well, you better know all of it.
I think I'd better, Doctor.
I'll admit that part of it is that I've grown rather tired of all this business of... Well, how are you today? Worse, thank you, Doctor.
But you've a wonderful practice.
Yes, what I'm onto is much more important than my practice.
You see, knowing old Charlie, I've grown rather interested in crime and crooks.
Evidently.
Sarcasm doesn't become you, Nurse.
Sorry. Are you experimenting about crooks?
I'll hang it all, I'm being one. Nurse, has it ever occurred to you to wonder why criminal activity should actually change a man's face and physique? Gradually change someone who was once quite normal into something furtive and cringing. It does, you know, in time.
I'm afraid I've never thought of anything like that.
Now, there are medical reasons for these changes. They affect the mentality of the crook and influence his actions. They're the result of the fear and excitement and the tense emotions which he works under. And I want to find out the precise nature of these reactions, and I can do it only by studying crooks whilst they are actually at work. Not after Charlie has stuck them away behind bars. It's research, and I needed a living subject. So I started experiments on myself. I observed my reactions, pulse, respiration, blood pressure. I've had to explain this to you, Nurse, but it needn't concern you, and it won't affect our work here.
You think it won't? I don't like it.
Well, if I've upset you, Nurse, I'm sorry, but I must go on with it.
Is it possible that you have it all in the wrong perspective?
Are you hinting that I've gone slightly mental?
Well, you have been overworking.
Nurse, I know precisely what I'm doing. It's simply research work in a slightly unusual form.
A very unusual form, Doctor.
Well, if you think that, you better go home to bed.
Yes, Doctor. I hope I haven't annoyed you.
Humoring the mental patient, Nurse?
Well, I do feel a little concerned.
Oh, don't you worry about me. I'm quite all right. Good night.
Good night, Doctor.
Oh, Nurse, just one thing.
Yes, Doctor?
Were you thinking of telephoning Sir James Hillary in the morning?
Telephoning Sir James? Why?
You were, weren't you?
What makes you think that?
Well, we called him in when old Trimmer began to see things the wrong way. Don't do it, nurse.
But I feel that someone
You said that I could trust you. This is a professional matter and very confidential.
Yes, Doctor.
And if this jewelry worries you, I'll be getting rid of it. I'm calling on Benny Kellerman tomorrow. Good night, nurse.
Good night, Doctor.
I'll have another ale, Kellerman.
All right, Okie.
Me too, Kellerman. Hey, want one, Daisy?
Well, I don't mind if I do, pal.
How's that? It's coppers.
Coppers don't knock like that.
Whether it's coppers or not, we can't let them see Okie.
That's right, Kellerman. I've got to hide.
Quick, in here, Okie.
Gotcha.
All right, Daisy and Pal. Mum's the word.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking for Mr. Benny Kellerman. It's me. Fine. Well, I can't talk to you from outside here. Who sent you? Inspector Charles of Scotland Yard.
Copper.
Keep quiet, pal.
A copper, are you? Come on in, then. Thank you. But the fact is, I am not a policeman. Then what do you want? I want to do a little business with you. But, it's confidential.
Tell him he's butting in, Benny.
The only business I've got is running this place. Inspector Charles seems to think you have other interests. Well, I haven't. Sorry. Well, let's have a drink, shall we? Young lady?
Don't mind if I do. Martini dry.
And you, sir?
Well, if it's free, mine's a beer.
2 dry martinis and a beer, Mr. Kellerman. Well, all right. Mr. Kellerman, is it all right to discuss confidential business with others present?
Oh, don't you mind us.
What do you want? Well, I understand that at times you want to take to dispose of, shall we say, articles of jewelry
Benny,
that,
don't buy from strangers.
Benny, don't buy at all. I see that I'll have to convince you. Well, let me put it this way, old boy. I'm not a narc, and I'm not coming the old soldier. I've got a daffy of sparklers, and I want a flasher.
Well, I never.
Hey, you've got the patter all right.
You might have got it out of a book.
Mr. Kellerman, you read about the burglary at Councillor Anderson's. What would you give for the pearl necklace? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, show him the stuff, mate.
Well, do you think I carried about with me?
Open up there.
This is the cops this time.
Stand away from the bar. Look natural.
Well, Kellerman.
Hello, Sergeant.
Now, who have you got here? Daisy? Paul Green? Oh, and who's that?
A friend of mine.
Thank you, Daisy.
Where's Bob Oakes?
Who?
You heard Oakey's been here.
Not tonight, Sergeant.
When did you see him last?
3 or 4 days ago.
Oh. Have you seen him, pal?
Me, Sergeant? No.
What do you want him for?
Oh, would I be likely to tell you?
Oh, he hasn't done nothing.
No? Something's been pulled off that was just his handwriting. If it wasn't him, he can come to the station and say so. If it was him, well, we'll pick him up anyway.
Well, what was the job, Sergeant?
It's jewelry. Stuff that's red hot. Understand me, Kellerman?
No, Sergeant.
You wouldn't, would you? But I'm telling you, it'll burn the fingers off anybody that touches it.
What is it?
Nearly £2,000 worth. Pearl necklace, diamond bracelet, brooches, and rings. All very nice stuff.
Taken from St. John's Woodway, Sergeant?
How do you know that?
Well, I read the papers.
Oh, you do? Well, who are you?
Beg your pardon?
You heard. What's your name?
For the matter of that, what's yours?
Now, don't try to be funny with me. Come on, answer up. Who are you?
Who are you?
Sergeant Bates is my name.
Oh? You got your warrant card?
What do you mean?
You know perfectly well what I mean. Your warrant card will prove your bona fides. Have you got it?
Of course I have.
Then will you kindly produce it?
Yeah, what's your game?
Well, you come in here asking questions of everyone, and we've a right to know who you are.
Well, they know me here.
All the same, I should like to see your card.
Very well.
Thank you. Sergeant Augustus Bates.
What are you laughing at, pal?
Sorry, Inspector.
And then who are you?
Me?
You, yes.
What's that to do with you?
I asked you your name.
And I refused to give it.
Now, don't you come that with me.
You've no shadow of a right in even requesting my name.
Haven't
No.
I? Have a good mind to pick you up.
On what grounds?
Suspicion.
Then why don't you do it, Sergeant? You've anything to be suspicious about?
Have you seen Okie?
I don't even know him.
All right, then. I'm going now. But you keep a civil tongue in your head next time you speak to a police officer.
Sergeant Bates,
Yeah?
if this kind of impertinence is repeated, I shall take steps to bring it to the notice of your superiors at the yard. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, blimey. Did you hear that? Take steps to bring it to the notice of your superiors.
Will you choke the sergeant off?
You'll have it in for me after this.
Good on you, matey. He's a right un, Benny.
Oh, you've certainly got a nerve. What's your name?
Well, I wouldn't even tell a policeman that. All right, okay. You can come out now.
How
did you know he was in there?
I heard every word. That was a treat that was, mate.
Well, your beer I gave you away, okay? I could see it running out beneath the panel. Have another?
He's a right un, ain't he, Okie? Take steps to bring it to the notice of your superior. Oh, God, lovey, that was worth living for.
I'll try the same as you.
You never did that job, did you, Okie?
No, not me. But I don't want to answer no questions tonight.
I'm afraid I owe you an apology, Okie. I must have duplicated your excellent methods.
You did the job?
That and 3 others.
Working on your Jack Jones?
On my own. Yes. Yeah. Okie. You think he's all right?
Well, you've got to say about that, Kellerman.
Are you prepared to do business, Kellerman? Where have you got the stuff? With me?
You said you hadn't got it.
I beg your pardon. I asked if you thought I carried it with me. As a matter of fact, I do.
Blimey, look at that.
Stone, you're a knockout.
Are you back onto the sergeant with all that on you?
I assume, Kellerman, that we can do business after all. I think we can.
I'd like to do some business with you myself.
Okay, it's an interesting suggestion, the one that I was about to make. I know you're experienced in this sort of work. How about Pal?
Try me.
And me.
Excellent. Just what I'd hoped for. I think this can be a most interesting group. I think, in short, gentlemen, and Daisy, that we are in business together. Your health.
Well, Benny? And what do you think of the flat?
I don't like it.
Don't like it, don't you? But those drapes, do you know how much they cost a yard? And their clock. And look at the furniture.
I don't like the idea of him setting you up in a flat.
Jealous?
I don't have to be jealous of him. When the time comes, I'll have him crawling to me.
Then you are jealous. Oh, Benny, honest, it's just like he said. This is a place for the gang to come to. This is where we make plans and split the swag.
And you live here and he pays the rent. He don't pay it on the proceeds of that one job we done, neither.
I tell you, he ain't touched me.
But you wouldn't mind if he did, would you? Would you?
As to that, he couldn't say, being a lady.
Come off it. All right, I bide my time. I'll watch and I'll wait. But I'll get him, whatever his name is. I'll get him in the end.
Off a mo. No, I'm not going to have it done.
He says you got to have it done. He says it's important. He taught me how to do it, and he's the boss. So I'm going to do it.
I don't need no blood test. No, my blood's red the same as anybody else.
Well, we'll see if it is. Here now. Hold still. Blimey. He's fainted.
I can't understand it. One burglary after another, each one bigger than the last. It's a gang, there's no question about that. And some of the features of these cases seem to point to certain old friends of ours. But the planning, the execution, so clever, so daring. It indicates that the gang has a leader who never operated around here before. We got to catch that fellow. That's all there is to it. We've got to catch him.
Here's your share of the swag, okay?
Thank you.
Pal and Daisy.
Thanks ever so.
All right. Now then, okay. Have you those blood pressure charts?
Here they are.
Fine. Now, next Tuesday, we're going after the biggest haul yet, furs. I've got a price from Kellerman, and there'll be 1,500 pounds in it for each of you. We'll meet here at 8 Tuesday. Very interesting date on these charts.
Over here, Ogie. All set.
The watchman?
Trussed up.
Is Pal getting the furs?
Putting them in boxes, just like you said.
Fine. Now we've got to carry them across from the roof of this building to the roof of the next one. Then through the skylight and down to the street and load them into our van.
Yeah, mate. Help me with these boxes.
Quiet, pal. Look, there's one thing I hope you've covered.
What is it?
Oh, I don't fancy carrying those boxes out onto the street down there. That street's patrolled, you know.
That's covered.
Oh, how?
Hey, hurry up.
Pal's right, okay. Let's help him, and don't worry, I've covered everything. Coming, pal. All right, okay. Pal, this is the last of the lot. Into the lorry.
To me.
There.
Fine. Now we close the door. And we're on our way.
Lumpy, up it, a copper. Run.
Stand still, you fools. Now, get into the lorry. I'll speak to him.
Wait.
Here now. What are you doing about here this time of night?
Ah, officer, I'm so delighted that you came along. Have you, your street directory with you?
Never mind, none of that now. I'll just take a look at what you got in the back of that there van.
Certainly, officer. You see? Boxes.
Ah.
My men just finished loading them.
Well, but this time...
Well, it was a special rush order. I had to come down myself in the middle of the night to superintend it.
How?
Have you your street directory with you, officer?
Huh? Oh, yes, I have. Yes.
Can you direct me to Emmons Road East?
Emmons Road East? Well, let's see. Yeah, I have it right here. Straight out it is, and then a right turn on the avenue, and then you'll come to it. It'll be on your left.
Oh, thank you so much, officer. It's a very lucky thing for me that you happened to come along. Good night, officer.
Oh, good night, sir.
All right, pal. Let's get underway. But slowly.
Almost died. Me too.
I told you I had everything covered, Okie. Now, why do you suppose we took our boxes over to the next building before bringing them onto the street?
Well, I don't know. Why?
Because that building is a box factory. Now, what more natural than that boxes should be carried out from it?
You can see for yourself, officer. They're just boxes.
Yes, boxes.
Well, let's celebrate. One year, Billy.
Whiskey. Neat. Martini for me.
And me.
I'll go on too.
Then I'll join in.
Well, that's to cheer things up a little. You came in with a face like fate, Mr. Kellerman.
I've had a funny feeling about this job. Never liked it from the start. I've got all the stuff away. I've collected my dough. But still, I've got a feeling.
Well, chase it off with this. Go on, drink up.
Oh, it's nervous reaction, that's all.
If I knew more about you, I'd feel safer.
I wonder if you would.
What do you mean by that?
Come on. Your very good health.
Cheers.
Ah.
Look, why don't you open up a bit? I never did like working in the dark.
Well, then, To the next time, Governor.
Mud in your eye.
Here's to crime and research. What? All right, then, plain crime.
Well, long legs to the baby.
Narvin, the money.
How have you brought it?
500 in each packet. There you are.
Well, here's yours, pal.
Thanks, Gov.
Never seen so much money.
Now, if you say things like that, I shall be conscience-stricken.
If the coppers could only see us now, eh?
Oh, Daisy, this is for you.
Oh, well, I didn't expect this.
Well, that's being a good girl.
It's ever so nice of you. I'm going to kiss you for it.
Yeah, Daisy.
Daisy, you will embarrass our friend.
Ooh, don't mind us.
You count out your own, okay? Daisy, put the rest in my bag, will you?
Yes, dear.
You trust me, don't you?
I do.
Could you be easing off now?
Yes,
How long for?
Well, I don't know quite.
I thought perhaps you might be.
Well, everything appears to be settled. I'll just make a call and be on my way.
Best thing for everyone is to keep quiet for a bit.
Yes, stay around and act normally. Hello? Yes, it is. Telephone immediately and say I'll be there in 20 minutes. Then I'll come straight back. That's all. Goodbye. I'm afraid I'll have to be getting along.
Aren't you going to set a time to mate for the next job, Governor?
No, okay, not now.
Well, I can let everybody know when you're ready.
Of course. Well, you'll have to excuse me, I'm afraid.
Well, hey, have another one before you go.
No, thanks. No, I really must be getting along. Goodbye, Mr. Kellerman. Cheerio, pal.
So long, Gov.
Goodbye, Okie. You backed me up splendidly. Daisy, my dear, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bit of an hurry, wasn't he?
Oh, well, he's got his own friends.
Oh, he upped it quick.
Yes. You know what he's doing?
He knows what he's doing.
It looks to me like he's dropping you.
Dropping me?
All of you.
Not him.
You'll see.
Oh, he's all right. I'll take me oath on that.
Well, I want to know a bit more about him. Where's that screwdriver?
Is this it?
Yes, thanks, Okie.
What are you doing?
Taking this dialing plate off the telephone. He always telephones someone before he goes. He isn't the only clever one.
Well, what are you after, Betty?
I don't like the look of this.
No, me neither.
I know what I'm doing. There. It's off. You see this? It's a little scriber I put underneath the plate. When the dial spun, the scriber marked it and clicked back a notch. I can tell now what number he called.
Penny.
Here, Benny, are you ringing the same number?
I am.
I wish you wouldn't, Benny.
Looks too tricky to me.
Why don't you lay off it? It can't do any good.
You leave this to me. Hello? Doctor Who's resident? Oh. Sorry, wrong number. Now I know.
You know who he is?
Yes. Yes, I do. Now I'll have a bit of fun.
In a moment, Act Two of The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse, starring Sir Cedric Hardwicke. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company. Now, Act Two of the Best Plays production of The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse, starring Sir Cedric Hardwicke. Here again is John Chapman.
So now what's going to happen? Rather a clever idea, I thought, for Benny to put some kind of marking machine he calls a scriber under the telephone dial to make a record of a number called. I know a man who can beat that trick, though. He's a box office man in one of our Broadway theaters. He can tell what number is being called just by listening to the dial clicking around and counting the clicks. This may sound more fantastic than Benny Kellerman's little trick, but it's nothing to what a good box office man can do. Every evening, for instance, along about the second act of a play, the treasurer counts up. He has to make a report on the number of tickets sold, the amount of money taken in, and the number of tickets left unsold. He takes the unsold tickets out of the rack, makes a smooth pile of them, holds them up to an ear, and ripples through them with his thumb. I've got a deck of playing cards here, and I'll try to let you hear about what he hears. I take the deck, hold it up, and run my thumb across an edge like this. Can you count how many cards there are? I can't. But a box office treasurer can, and that's the way he counts the number of tickets left unsold. He may pause for a split second now and then to let his brain catch up with his thumb, like this. But he doesn't make mistakes. But let's find out now what is happening in our play. Dr. Clitterhouse has got himself into Benny's little mob by saying, I'm not a narc, and I'm not coming the old soldier. I've got a daffy of sparklers, and I want to flash them. I love that line. I don't know what it means, because Humphrey Bogart would never talk like that. But it has a pleasant underworld sound to it. So, Clitterhouse is in the mob, and the clever Benny with his scriber has found out who Dr. Clitterhouse is. It is early evening, a week later. Benny Kellerman has not attempted to get in touch with Dr. Clitterhouse during this interval. Benny Kellerman is too smart to rush quickly into something that means so much to him. He has spent his time learning everything he can about the respectable Dr. Clitterhouse. And now, only now, he sits in the waiting room of Dr. Clitterhouse's office while Nurse Ann goes into the consulting room.
Oh, Doctor, can you see someone?
Who?
A Mr. Benjamin.
Patient?
You've never attended him, but he says it's rather urgent.
I do have some writing to do.
Your notes, Doctor?
Yes, I've discovered some things which should prove interesting. Highly interesting.
I've always been so afraid that you'd be caught.
I've been very careful.
But I've always known when you were doing something.
Have you? How?
Well, I could tell.
Oh? You noticed anything recently?
You've been very anxious to see the papers.
I have, haven't I? Yeah, there's an acknowledgement in this one, just there. Got it?
Receipt for £7,000. Anonymous. Police orphanage?
The Prisoner's Aid has another lot, but I thought that was rather selfish of me.
In case you ever needed their assistance.
Well, that was the idea.
Don't you think you've done enough now? Can't you give it all up?
I haven't quite decided.
I should feel much happier.
Why doesn't it affect you, Nurse?
Yes. Sometimes you appear so tired.
Well, late night.
So fagged out in the morning.
Well, I'll turn in on tonight anyhow, as soon as I'm rid of this chap in the waiting room. Send him in, will you, Nurse?
Very well, Doctor. Mr. Benjamin, the doctor will see you now.
You. Kellerman. Hello, Dr. Clitterhouse.
Perhaps you wouldn't mind telling me how you come to be here.
Through a little idea of my own. You're not the only fly one. So, you're a proper doctor, are you?
Does anyone else know who I am?
No. I've kept it to myself. So far.
And what do you want?
Well, when I know what your game is, then I'll know how safe you are.
Or putting it more clearly, how safe you are.
Have it that way, if you like. You're a doctor. Unless you got yourself into trouble, you don't have to steal.
Oh?
What's all this medical stuff you've been putting across? Taking samples of blood and all that? Come on, open up. What's the game?
Well, I don't mind explaining since you're here. You see this book? It's almost filled with, let's call them my medical notes.
What are they for?
I intend them as the basis of a book, which may in some measure reveal why crooks are crooks and why they continue to be crooks.
It don't make sense to me. Here, what's in this book over here?
Notes on everything that I've done.
About the big job, for instance?
Yes, that's included.
I always knew you were dangerous. Suppose the cops got hold of these notes.
Well, that's very unlikely.
But they'll see this other book when you've written it.
I hope it will assist them.
Yes, assist them to come down on you and me. They'll ask you a million questions. You don't know the cops like I do. Here, let's have a look at that notebook.
Now, be careful what you're doing, Kellerman.
I've got it. Think I'm like the others, afraid of you? We'll just have a look at this notebook.
I doubt if you'll understand it.
There's something here, though. P hit the officer during escape about 8:45. 9:15, officer reported killed. P immediately subjected to laryngeal spasm. I can't make out the rest. What is it, Latin?
Shall I explain it?
There's no need. Any copper could work out the meaning of this for himself. Do you know what you've written here?
Yes, I think so.
Enough to send us down for 5 years apiece. P for pal. 8:45 was the time of that snatch job when we slugged the copper. He thought he'd done that copper in. And every busy in London knows that pal's voice goes when he's scared. It'd be on this like lightning.
Nothing of the sort will appear in the book itself.
How do I know that?
Give me back that book, Kellerman.
Not bloody likely.
You hear what I say?
I shan't sleep till I've seen this burnt.
Burnt?
You bet it'll be burnt. You think I'm going to let you walk out on us and keep this?
Give that to me, Kellerman, immediately.
You try and get it.
That book is very important, Kellerman. I am not going to see my work destroyed by you.
It's a long sight more important to me. Have you ever thought I could give the office about you? I've got myself covered, see? And they can't touch Daisy. She's only done a bit of minding now and then.
Oh, you mean you're thinking of giving me away to the police?
It only wants a word.
I see.
You've been picking the jobs. Now I'll pick them for you.
What do you mean by that?
I've got my eye on a bank.
Oh. Are you suggesting I should break into it?
I'm telling you. And I'll give you 20% of what you take.
Rather harsh terms, Mr. Kellerman. Does Oakey know you mean to suggest them?
No, but if you try any funny business, I'll shop you.
I'll turn you in and the whole lot will go inside with you. I think I understand you. And I haven't finished yet. I didn't make so much off those furs as I ought to have done, didn't you? You wouldn't want to see me lose on the job, would you? Not if you could pass me back 1,000 or so to put me right.
Oh, so you lost on it, did you?
It just occurred to me.
Yes, you're making yourself quite clear now.
I thought I was. Awkward for you, isn't it?
Yes, a little perhaps.
Kellerman, do you realize the position into which you're trying to force me?
Trying? I know where I've got you. We'll talk about that bank job at the club tomorrow night, not at the flat. You keep away from Daisy, see? All right? Now I think I'll have a drink.
I was about to suggest one. Kellerman, do you seriously mean all you've said?
You try and cross me.
Well, I only wanted to know.
You be sensible, and there won't be no hard feelings.
Well, it seems better to be as friendly as possible for the time we're together. Soda?
Not for me.
Here.
Well, here's luck.
I have this sent down special from Scotland. How do you like it?
It's a bit, I don't know, got a full flavor. It'll do, though.
You know, Kellerman, I've just realized that my book would hardly have been complete.
Yeah. You're not likely to write it now, are you?
No. You see, I've secured data on various types of criminal activity, but so far I've overlooked a major interest.
Oh, yes?
You see, I don't know anything at all about the reactions associated with the greatest crime of all.
What's that?
Why, disposing of someone.
You mean doing somebody in?
That would complete the book.
And it would complete you, too. You can't get away with murder.
Well, I rather think I could, you know.
How?
Well, I should make my victim unconscious, but I shouldn't actually end his life until I was quite ready to dispose of him.
Wouldn't you?
No, that would be much too dangerous. I should put him in the back of my car, under some rugs, perhaps. Then I should drive down to Burnham on Crouch. I have a bungalow there which backs onto the river. I should put him into a punt. Then I should go out to midstream, but I shouldn't drop him overboard until I was absolutely certain that I had not been observed and that I was quite safe.
Here
And being unconscious, he would drown. The coroner's verdict would be simply found drowned. There would be no marks, no violence, nothing.
Here I feel sleepy.
Of course you do, Mr. Kellerman. You remember the full taste in your whiskey? I emptied a phial of heroin tablets into your first glass. 12 of them. A full grain.
Sleep,
You see, you created an impossible situation, Mr. Kellerman. You forced me to do it. Well, we'll be going to Burnham on Crouch, Mr. Kellerman.
Dr. Clitterhouse residence? Oh, yes, Mr. Davidson. I'm afraid it's hardly possible for you to see the doctor this evening unless it's very urgent. Oh, yes. 9:45 in the morning would be fine. Goodbye.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Where's the news?
Right here, Doctor. I thought you might want to see it.
Oh, what?
There's a picture in it. A picture that's been troubling me, Doctor. Look. Isn't that the man who called himself Mr. Benjamin?
Yes.
The paper calls him Benny Kellerman. Isn't he the fence you once said you were going to see?
Ah, you remember.
Doctor, I saw him here 2 evenings ago.
That's right, nurse.
He's been missing since he came here.
Yes, he has, hasn't he?
They found him. Found his body in the River Crouch.
Found drowned, eh?
Doctor, he was not found drowned.
He was?
Read what it says there. The police are investigating. The paper says that he was dead before he went into the River Crouch. Whatever you gave him was too much for him.
Aren't you letting your imagination get the better of you, nurse?
I don't think I am. Did you take him to Burnham?
Nurse, you don't realize what you're saying.
Do you realize that they'll trace him to you?
They can't possibly do that.
Did you kill him?
Nurse, I don't want...
Did you?
Yes. I did. I had to. He was blackmailing me, forcing me to go on.
Oh, good Lord.
Everything had been all right, then suddenly it got out of hand.
I can't
It
believe
was
it.
impossible to me.
You did give him the heroin.
What do you know about the heroin?
When I came back from Nurse Harvey's that night, the file on your desk was empty. You'd gone out. You didn't come home until after 2 o'clock in the morning. I waited here until then. I felt there was something wrong.
I see.
You did give him the heroin, didn't you?
Yes. I examined him before I went out on the river. He was alive then.
You meant to drown him. But he must have died on the boat.
I didn't examine him again.
Why didn't you stop before this? Why didn't you? Why didn't
You're
you?
getting hysterical, nurse.
You and your precious book. You must destroy it. You see that, don't you? If there's the least suspicion, your notes will give you away.
But nothing can be traced to me.
How do you know? You've made one slip already.
Yes. He was not found drowned.
Going to Burnham. That was another.
I don't think so.
You may have made a third.
No. You know, we're frightening each other, aren't we, nurse? Listen, there is absolutely nothing that will link Kellerman with myself.
How is it that he came here? You didn't tell him who you were, surely.
No, I don't know how you found that out.
If he could find it out, someone else could.
I don't think so.
But you haven't really thought about it at all until now, have you? You haven't been thinking clearly, Doctor. You were not able to think. Oh, why didn't I act differently at the beginning? Why didn't I get a psychiatrist in?
Oh, don't be absurd.
You've been overworking. You were overwrought. I realize it now.
Nurse, please.
You were just like a patient who won't give in, forcing a new interest to keep yourself
You're
going.
talking nonsense. I'm just the same as I've always been.
I could have stopped all this, and now I'm so frightened for you, so frightened.
Hello?
Hello, Governor. This is Oakey.
Oakey? How the devil did you get this number?
Kellerman. He did some monkey shines with a phone at Daisy's place and found out your number.
I see.
I called, Governor, because I just heard from a steward that the coppers have your phone number, too.
How did they have got it?
From Kellerman's pocket when they fished him out of the river.
Oh, I see. Okay. Listen, don't stop for anything. Get away now and look after Daisy. Don't stay talking to me. Get away now. Good luck, and good luck to Pal. Goodbye, Oakey. Devil.
Hello?
Sir William?
Speaking?
Oh, Sir William, this is Dr. Clitterhouse. I'm wondering if you're busy at the moment.
No, not at all.
Could I see you?
Delighted. What's it all about, Clitterhouse?
Oh, tiresome legal sort of thing.
Oh, but you know, of course, I specialize in criminal work. I could recommend a...
This is a criminal matter, Sir William.
Really?
Yes, so could I just step across the way and have a word with you?
Fine, certainly. But I was just going out. Why don't I pop into your place?
Well, that'll be fine. Thank you, Sir William.
Now, Clitterhouse, what roguery have you been up to, eh?
Well, it's not myself.
Been caught splitting fees?
It's rather more serious than that, Sir William.
Oh, it is, eh?
Yes. A friend of mine has got himself in rather a mess. A A medical friend.
What's he done?
Well, Sir William, he had the idea of trying to secure data on the nervous reaction of, crooks.
Oh, yes?
He felt their experiences must have a definite influence not only upon their psychology, but upon their physique.
I think I follow you.
He wanted, among other things, to work out the medical reasons for it by tests and close observation, while the crooks were actually at work.
Interesting. There might be something to it.
He found that there was.
He's been carrying out this investigation?
Yes.
Did you say while crooks were actually at work?
I did.
Oh, how did he manage that?
Well, he simply went amongst the crooks.
Fraternized with them?
Joined them, Sir William.
Good heavens, are you suggesting that he resorted to criminal practices?
Well, he had to find out what he wanted to know.
Oh, did he?
He worked alone at first on small burglaries. Then he met a receiver and other men, and between them, they did some quite reasonably clever jobs.
And he's involved himself, I suppose?
He has. Some of the burglaries they committed were what the newspapers call sensational.
And your medical friend was in them?
Yes, collecting data.
Collecting data? Did I understand you to say he jeopardized a medical practice to do this?
Yes.
What happened to the proceeds of the burglaries?
Well, the crooks had their share, and he gave most of his away anonymously. His object was research, you see.
I don't know that I do see, quite. I suppose it has got rather beyond him, is that it?
Yes. He kept his identity secret, and then one of them found out who he was and tried to blackmail him.
That was inevitable.
My friend's notes were then practically complete. Well, he didn't want to go on, only this man tried to force him to continue.
And then?
Then he suddenly realized that he'd studied various types of criminal activity from burglary to well-organized robbery, but he lacked data on the ultimate crime.
Not murder?
Yes.
And he has?
He has. In fact, he was obliged to.
You mean he removed the blackmailer?
Yes.
So he has his last chapter.
In every detail.
And he's now afraid that the police will be after him.
Yes, Sir William, he does appreciate that contingency.
Look here, Clithouse, are you stating a hypothetical case, or has this actually happened?
Well, let's assume that it has actually happened. What would be his chances of getting off?
Oh, it isn't a matter of chance at all.
Isn't it?
Oh, he would get off.
What? Why?
Oh, because the man's as mad as a hatter.
Good Lord.
Well, it's obvious.
And he'd get off?
Well, the facts being stated by you, I'd stake my reputation on it.
Stake your reputation?
It wouldn't be worth bringing him to trial.
But he's not mad, Sir William.
Oh, he may not go about with straws in his hair, but he's not sane, and therefore he's not responsible.
But what about his book?
Well, that might be quite coherent and perfectly sensible. He probably goes about and acts like anybody else.
Just like you and I?
Yes. And you'll have to do something about it, you know.
What do you mean?
You're an accessory after the fact. I take it that you've obtained this information confidentially, but you can't keep it to yourself.
Of course, you think
your friend must be restrained. I suggest that you ought immediately to inform the proper authorities. I don't want to propose any breach of confidence, but does it happen to be anyone whom I know?
Yes.
Indeed? Who?
Me.
Good heavens!
Hello, Charlie.
Hello, old man. Good evening, Sir William.
Good evening, Inspector.
Sergeant Bates, come in.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant, do you recognize this man?
Yes, sir. This is the man I saw in Kellerman's Club about 4 months ago.
Ah, you remember me.
I do.
What is this, Charles?
Cled, I wonder if you'd mind coming down to the yard with me, if you're not too busy.
Yes, we promised ourselves an evening out, didn't we?
What have you been up to, old man?
Doctor, I don't think I should say very much.
All right, Sergeant, you can wait in the hall.
Very good, sir.
You know why I'm here, don't you, Clid?
Yes, I know.
Benny Kellerman.
Yes.
Is this an arrest, Charles?
No. We just want to ask a few questions.
Well, don't be so upset about it. Everything's all right, isn't it, Sir William?
Perfectly.
Sir William, would you mind taking charge of this? What is it? All my notes.
Cled, what is all this about?
Well, I thought it was because he was blackmailing me.
And was he?
Not quite sure now. As far as I can make out, he was helping me to write a book.
Will you come along now, old man?
Of course. Sir William, may I retain you to represent me?
Naturally, my friend.
You won't forget, will you, Sir William? Your reputation is at stake. I shall be very upset if you lose it. Ready, Charlie?
You have just heard the Best Plays production of The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse, starring Sir Cedric Hardwicke. And here once more is your host, drama critic John Chapman.
I imagine you can understand now why Broadway wanted to see Hardwicke as often as possible after having had a look at him as Dr. Clitterhouse. Thank you, Sir Cedric, for bringing this play back to us. Thank John Stanley for being Benny Kellerman. Thanks to all the good players who have rallied around to our support. Next week, we shall meet several very different characters. They are all quite normal, really, but they do have the oddest names. For instance, there are the gentleman in gay braces and the lady in spectacles. There are a crocus gatherer, a lady in buttoned boots, and even a lady who has lost her underwear. All these people are in a comedy by C.L. Anthony titled Autumn Crocus. It's about a holiday resort in the Austrian Tyrol. The proprietor of this happy establishment, the gentleman in gay braces, will be played by Walter Slezak, and the lady in spectacles will be Carmen Matthews. The first time I saw Slezak, back a long time now, he was wearing gay braces in another Tyrolean idol, Jerome Kern's Music in the Air. The last time I saw him was just the other night, on another visit to the Broadway success My Three Angels, in which Slezak is the head angel. And if anybody ever looked like a cherub, he does. I think we shall enjoy Autumn Crocus next week. And this is Chapman saying goodbye until then.
Dr. Clitterhouse was transcribed and adapted for radio by Robert Sandella. Heard in the cast were John Stanley as Benny Kellerman, Alfred Shirley as Sir William, Horace Graham as Inspector Charles, Joan Peel as Nurse Anne, Ivor Francis as Oki, Kathleen Cordell as Daisy, Guy Spall as Pal, Richard Newton as Sergeant Gates, and Burford Hampton as the Constable. Best Plays is an NBC production supervised by William Welch and directed by Edward King. Your announcer is Fred Collins. The Coronation Day address of Queen Elizabeth II to her subjects on Tuesday will be broadcast in the USA by NBC. Following the coronation ceremonies in Westminster Abbey, Britain's new queen will return to Buckingham Palace from the balcony on which she will address the millions jamming the streets of London on that historic day. The program will be introduced by George Hicks, a member of the team of top NBC correspondents assigned to cover the coronation, who will review the day's highlights. Following this, Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill will extend his greetings to the Queen. She will then address her loyal subjects. Remember, all of the colorful pageantry of the coronation will be brought to you on NBC.